Idiots.
Fucking morons. Obviously after,
Language.
presumably after the voiceover goes like, in the season finale of Preachin on Preacher.
Oh shit! I
And the
better
season
edit that.
finale
I
of
was gonna
AMC's
say,
Preacher.
they announced our season finale.
They did, yeah. We're blowing up. Hello and welcome to Preachin on Preacher, episode 84. In part 1, we're going to be talking about episode 9 of season 3, Schwanzkopf. And in part 2, we're going to be talking about episode 10, the season finale, which is The Light Above. We're going to hold the question of the week for next week, because next week we've decided, as of 5 minutes ago, to do a season recap, followed by the question of the week, which will be on best and worst finales.
Because we're so prepared.
Yeah, best and worst finales. No, not just series finales altogether, but like season finales and shit like that. So, I am Aidan Ralph.
Joe Lennon.
I'm Michael Ormond.
And I'm Ken.
So, gentlemen, first things first, how were your weeks?
Atrocious.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to. We're recording
Nick
now on a
had
Friday.
diarrhea.
No, not diarrhea.
No, it was both ends.
Was it
Yeah,
both
was it
ends?
Actually, both ends.
So we were
shit.
So you know that
That's
episode
shit.
of South Park where Kenny's dad? Yeah, that was me Tuesday night.
Holy shit!
I'm not familiar with that episode
Food
of South
poisoning,
Park,
maybe?
but
Could have been.
I don't think
That sounds
so
like food
because
it sounds like a bug because like the
Yeah.
kid had it as well, didn't
Ryan
he?
and Jespo had it.
Yeah.
So the fact that it
Oh.
was all three of us at once,
Has
it
to
was
be a bug,
a vomiting bug.
How is
or
your
something.
toilet still standing? Like seriously?
It's not. There's a hole in the
Great-
ground. I
yeah,
had to take a
exactly.
shit in the hole in the ground upstairs, man.
That's
it was
why.
fucked up.
That's why there's a
In
pod
the dark, man. It was,
It was so powerful it knocked out the electricity
Oh.
in a 10-foot
I
radius.
was only half
Yeah.
joking about the potty in the hall.
scorch
You're
marks on the
probably
door
better
and shit.
Hand marks on the wall.
Yeah.
So that was my week.
So we were supposed to. We're recording on a Friday right now. We were supposed to record on
Sorry.
Tuesday, and literally at the 0 hour. No,
Yeah.
no disrespect. No, like I'm not trying to like be angry at you or anything like that.
Yes, you are.
But
it's
no,
okay.
no. Like at the 0 hour, I was picking up Joe at the time, and then
Mhm.
Nick was like, "So I'm after throwing up, and the kids out throwing as well. Like I don't know, I don't feel so good."
There's
And we're
puke
like-
everywhere.
We were like, "Do you want to postpone?" I was like, and Mick was like, "I'm really sorry." I was like, "Don't apologize. If you're fucking literally getting sick everywhere, it sounds like a vomiting bug." Number one, obviously you don't have to record. That would be mean. And number two, we don't want to get it. So
At that-
like,
At that stage, I was going to do it because at that stage I'd only gotten sick once,
yeah,
and I was like, okay, I feel a good bit better now. I'll power through the recording and then go to bed.
yeah,
Now the only thing is Jess wasn't here, so I would have had to also look after Ryan,
yeah.
and that was kind of throwing me off. But then I got sick a second time, and then I was like, okay, no, there's something actually wrong with me, and not just something food that didn't agree with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when I made the executive decision to call it.
Can
Yeah.
you imagine if we went ahead with the podcast like that? Like all you'd hear over is, oh wait, I can't do it. Aiden.
I don't feel so
awful,
good.
And even the YouTube video would have looked like a scene from The Exorcist.
Yeah, he would have started wanking with a crucifix up his arse and stuff. Would have been crazy.
Oh, sorry, wrong scene.
It would have been
You
pretty
gotta
bad.
stuff it
Like
somehow.
there
Yeah.
would have been video footage of just you'd see me go paler and paler and paler, and
Yeah,
then oh god,
yeah.
Mick's
I
gonna
can
Then I have
change
to
that.
run.
I can color grade this.
frame by frame colouring Mick back to normal life.
Or just fucking like like black bars when he's getting sick and stuff, just to censor it.
Slow
It
it
is
down.
Yeah.
Slow-mo
Very-
style.
Yeah,
very annoying how quickly that came on. Because Aiden gave me a lift home
yeah. He
half
seemed
5,
fine. Yeah,
and I felt a little bit weird then, but not at any way bad. Like I was playing pool at 5 o'clock in work.
yeah. Imagine if you got sick on the pool table. That would have been hilarious.
That would have been hilarious, especially because the guy I play against can't beat me, and he would have blamed the sick.
Oh right. yeah.
Also, getting sick how it felt. I can't
Yeah,
imagine
it
that
wouldn't
ever.
happen. They'd have to buy a
Yeah.
new pool
yeah,
table.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but cum really streaks if you don't clean it right away. I mean, sorry, vomit.
So that was
Uh,
next week. Jesus
So that was mixed
Christ.
weeks.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Glad you're all right, Mick.
Me too.
In better news, I have done 11 of my 12 driving lessons.
Oh, that's good. You're on the
So
home
I'm-
stretch.
Yeah, I've one lesson left, and then I have to figure out how to do the test.
Wait, so you drove us around, and you haven't even done all the tests yet?
I haven't done all my lessons yet.
It's still-
It's yeah.
You're
It's
supposed
still
to.
legal to
I,
drink
I,
drive.
I still don't feel safe right now.
Well, you shouldn't. I was.
Honestly, if I started, I can see exactly what I do with like a car as well. Like, all right, that's
Preferably
my
get
week.
in it.
I'm living in Park West now. So,
Oh yeah, you
Oh,
moved out.
boy.
That's right.
Moved
Yeah.
out.
Yay.
hey, fuck you.
So Joe's
with
living.
that, if I get a car there, that would be amazing for learning how to drive because you could literally just come home and at any time in the middle of the night, just go into the Park West. It's a ghost town.
Yeah,
drive
just
around that thing
yeah.
for hours. You could.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a complete another
The
ghost thing.
legalities, though, Joe.
With,
Who's your
with a
accompanying
full
driver?
licensed driver with you.
Oh, I will be 100%
Yes.
honest right now. I will not follow that rule.
Nobody follows it apart from Mick.
Yeah,
Mick,
I think he's-
I don't know how you've gotten so far with the thing. I will be 100% on the road without anyone for the full time until I get my license.
Yeah, absolutely. I
That's
think pretty
6 Park West Drive.
much. Yeah, that's not
Ha.
true.
He doesn't
No.
know.
It's the
I
wrong
don't know the
address. I'm not going to
address.
say the address
1, 2,
out loud.
3
It's all right.
Fake
I actually
Street.
don't
Yeah.
know the address either, so it's fine.
So,
I
how
know
do
the
you
number
that?
of the apartment.
So do I, but like,
That's
that'd
it.
be enough, wouldn't it?
What? Just no. I'm not going to say it. I was
No,
going
I'm
to
not gonna say
say
it.
it. I'm not going to say.
I
Where
won't say it
live.
either. It's fine. But
No,
yeah, so you-
I think
so-
you need more.
Jobstown.
Jobstown.
so Joe
Hey.
moved in with Ken and
Yeah.
Rosie.
Yay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was in the apartment earlier on. Everything looks all set up. It's all like you took a couple of days off, right? Just to
I did, yeah. Right. Well,
Like, I
yeah,
walked
kinda,
in
yeah.
and seen his fucking room, and I was like, it's like it's been here the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
the shelves are put up, all of his stuff is like perfectly neat on the shelves, and I can't wait to go in and just start turning things around
Don't you start with that, right?
Um,
That's no.
and just pull a Dano.
Do
yeah,
you
I
remember
literally
when you
walked
lived
by
with your
originally
friends
owned
when
it.
you were 19? That's what it's going to be like again.
yeah,
Yeah.
Monastery all over again.
yeah. But I walked into the room. I was like, "This is a nice place," you know.
Nice place.
You did. I knew.
God damn it! All right, you're gonna have to bleep that.
You're
I'm
listening
sorry.
to too much Dave
Dave
Chappelle.
Chappelle.
Oh, very much
Yeah.
so.
Oh shit! I apologize.
It's like,
You're not gonna know what I said there. It's just bleeped. But Dave Chappelle's the clue.
No.
You're not gonna bleep that.
no, what was
No,
it? Like he was
no.
talking about.
Yeah, fucking.
He was talking about like some of the stuff that Dave Chappelle was talking about, some of the stuff that people are making fun of Donald Trump for. It's like, you know, one of them was not living in the White House. Like, I don't blame him for that. I wouldn't want to live in that Scooby-Doo ass house either. George Bush didn't live there. He lived in his ranch in Texas. Obama was the first person to walk in and be like, "This is a nice place. Look at this rug." So, can you imagine if you're trying? He's like, "Can you imagine if you're trying to jerk off in the crib? You see George Washington looking down. You're like,
I totally power
Actually,
through.
it's
That's
a,
I
it's a
don't
good point.
100% power through.
Saying
Yeah.
that, the day we were meant to record the podcasts,
Yeah,
you two guys came up to the apartment and just chilled out, and that was my first experience of a full live Dave Chappelle show.
what did you think
Actually,
about?
what did you think? Yeah, like I'm not sure
He-
you were too crazy.
I was
on it.
gonna say the word, but it won't be Joe and just blurt the word out in a recording. But that is crazy.
Oh, he is a bit crazy.
N-word guy is crazy.
Yeah,
He is, but he speaks a lot of truth, doesn't he? Really,
Oh, he
in some of his
does.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's
Like,
really
I couldn't
blunt to the
believe
point.
He's like straight out and honest. And
Yeah.
I couldn't stop.
We were
laughing
listening
Yeah.
to some of them in the. I think the reason a lot of this comes up now is because he announced a tour date over in Ireland. So is it the first time he's done a thing over here?
I think so.
I think it
Yeah,
may be the first time in Ireland.
But
Yeah.
anyway, like I've never been a massive fan, only because as I've gotten older, I've kind of not moved away, but I don't think I find the racial comedy as funny as I maybe used to.
yeah.
Okay.
But that stuff we were listening to this morning, I mean, you can't help but laugh at some of it.
It's very funny. He's.
But that was some of his older stuff, wasn't it? We were
Yeah.
listening to this morning.
But I mean, the fourth, like, it's funny. Like when he said when he first said he was going to do, or announced he was going to do Saturday Night Live. So the reason that I which I know now is that you don't see any Dave Chappelle stand up on YouTube and stuff really, is because he has a policy of like when he does tour, nobody's allowed to have a phone. Literally, you're not even allowed to have a phone at the show. So if you bring a phone, you have to lock it up in. You just put it in a locker and stuff before you go in.
What?
The reason for that is that there's a couple of reasons. Number one, he just doesn't want like people having their phones out the whole time of the show, which makes sense. One of the other reasons is that I think there's three reasons. That's one. The second reason is that like, I mean, even those stand-up specials for Netflix, he caught so much shit for those specials. If people were filming him all the time, can you imagine the amount of views that he would get online? Whereas if nobody has a phone, nobody has any fucking evidence of it, he's going to get away with a lot more and stuff. He's not going to catch as much shit online. You know what I mean? And then the third reason is that if he's at a show and he tells a joke, whatever, and then somebody sees that shit on YouTube, and then they go to the show in the next city, like that sort of
Yeah, they're
takes
not
the
going
wind
to
out of
watch his show if
Yeah.
like people record all of his best
If it's
jokes
the same
from
show every time,
it.
yeah.
exactly.
It's the same thing you see with like a perfect example is music. Like, all right, and a perfect year would be for like Green Day and American Idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They done a world tour of nearly 100 dates in the space of 2 years.
yeah,
They're just everywhere non-stop. But they done 3 in Ireland.
yeah,
The set had only one change on the
Yeah.
third show from one of the songs. But you could literally, what they they filmed it all and put it on YouTube, and it was all over their website.
Yeah.
And they had the DVDs out, and you got like all these concerts all up. MTV special.
Yeah.
Same set the whole time. So if you watch it live, you're like on TV.
Oh, no, I don't have to go
It's
buy
like,
the
yeah,
ticket.
like,
It was the same
I've
thing. There was
seen
no
the show,
change.
yeah.
And it's the same thing with the comedians. If you see the same jokes, you're going to be like, because I had that with Bill Bailey before.
Yeah.
He had his like a DVD of one of his shows, and about a year later he came over here, and the same joke was in it, and
Was
it
that
just
the
fell
Dandelion
flat.
show we went to?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it just completely fell flat because it was on a previous DVD, and I was like,
Well, even
Yeah.
though I went to
It's like,
see the Mighty Boosh years ago,
mm.
and I seen them. It was in the Olympia, and I watched the show. Now we were up in the gods at the Olympia, so there was like all like the moon and stuff, and we couldn't see it because the top of the stage was like kind of covering it.
Yeah.
And then we went to see them a year and a half later in the O2, the exact same show.
Oh, fuck, that's annoying.
Literally, from start to fucking finish,
Nice.
the exact
That's
same
very
show,
annoying.
and it was double the price for the tickets because it was in the O2
That's so
at the
annoying.
time. And now, obviously, we could see everything because obviously bigger stage.
So you
it's
got the
lower
you got
down.
the
Yeah.
show that time.
We got to see the moon. It was great.
Yeah.
I like
and
I like
then-
that they change it up, and you need
Like,
to change it up.
Yeah,
I will
like this
say,
was
like,
the same. It was
something-
fucking ridiculous.
Something like which I'll say is like the exact opposite of that. I seen David O'Doherty at the Vodafone Comedy Festival, and then that was in like I think July or August, and then a few months later I seen him in the Seamus Ennis Arts Centre in the Knoll, in the back arse of nowhere, just down the road from my parents' house. And so we went to the show, and it only occurred to me as we were going that was that November. I was like, "Fuck, this is like 4 or 5 months later. This might be the same show." Was it the same show? Was it bollocks? There was like an overlap of one joke that I can remember. Other than that, it was a totally new show. Like you can forgive like an Irish comedian for like doing a bunch of dates around the country and stuff. Like, and
Yeah.
if you've seen the same, that's if I'd seen the same show, that's tough shit for me. Like because I'd already seen it a few months earlier, but it was
If
so
you're going
different.
To,
It was
if you're going
amazing.
to see the same comedian within 5 months of it,
You're bound to see the
it's
same
possibly
show.
Yeah.
the same tour. Yeah.
No, I think like like literally, I think maybe 1 to 2 different jokes,
Yeah.
or the same joke. Sorry, and the
Like
rest
the-
was all fucking fresh. Like so, ever since then, I was
Yeah.
like, that guy, I have a huge amount of respect for.
Well,
the
even
amount
I-
of new material he had.
I
was
went to
amazing.
see Des Bishop. I got tickets. It was
Yeah.
it was kind of free tickets that were given out, but it was a Des Bishop. It was one of them like pre-shows to test out most of his jokes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And it was for the one. What was it? My dad could have been James Bond.
Oh yeah,
We went to that. Now it was it was up the top of, remember Twisted Pepper?
yeah,
So it was a tiny little venue. There was
Right.
about 40 people in it.
yeah.
And
Same when I saw him in Seamus Ennis, but yeah,
Well, this completely this show, it was like non-stop laughing from start to finish.
same.
It was hilarious.
Yeah,
And then when we seen him, there was the comedy festival in, I think it was Ivy Gardens.
yeah,
It was his show called the same thing. My dad
Yeah.
could have been James Bond, and it was completely different jokes. So
he's
he
fucking
literally,
amazing,
but
isn't he?
even though he
Nice.
got so many laughs from that,
Testing and
testing it out, he
continuing
just
on.
must not have liked the jokes, and then
Yeah.
just went, "I'm going to change up the whole storyline,"
Yeah,
and just done a completely different show. And I was like, "That's class," because I
He's
thought it was
fucking-
just going to be the same thing again.
he's a legend. I've seen him 3 times. The first, like, it was actually I'll never forget it. The first time I walked into Electric Picnic, the very first year that I went, he was the first person that we saw. I'd never even heard before at the time because this was 2006, and yeah, he was fucking hilarious then as well. He's
So good.
he's an amazing comedian. But I'm very, 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 very happy that Dave Chappelle is coming over here. He's after seeing those 4
Yeah, I
Netflix
forgot how we got
specials.
to that part of the conversation.
Like when he was announced for Saturday Night Live, I was like, there was no, like I said earlier on, there was no shit that you can see on YouTube. You can watch Chappelle's show from like the 2003, 2004 and stuff, but there's no stand up shit other than like one special,
Yeah.
or 2 specials from years and years ago, from like 2002 and 2004 and stuff like that. So I was like, I wonder if he's still funny because he hadn't toured in like honestly, because he hadn't toured in like 10 years. And I was like,
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still funny. And then the opening monologue from Saturday Night Live, I've watched it about 30 times because it's like 11 minutes of like the funniest stand up I've seen ever. Like it's just, or
Because
it's
in
one of
the
the
age of absolute spin, as he says,
yeah.
he's the one spitting out truth and like fun. Like that kind of modern or in the now truth comedy,
Yeah.
where it's just like talking about that. Comedians are starting to, which I think is fucking ridiculous. But comedians are starting to get a lot of stick, even online. You see them getting on Twitter and stuff like that. Of like,
Yeah.
oh, I think this joke's offensive. It was like all my jokes are offensive. They're meant
Yeah.
to be. They're funny. It's a joke. Get over it.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like, seriously, calm the fuck down.
Like one of the best things he said, he was he was on Saturday Night Live the day after Trump got elected, And he was saying that he's like one of the there were a couple of things that were hilarious, like everything that was hilarious. But I remember two of the things he said. One of them was, "I didn't know Donald Trump was going to be elected, but I did suspect it because I know the whites. You're not as predictable as you used to be, but I know the whites." And later on, he's like, "I don't know if he'll be a good president, but makes a damn fine hotel, son. I mean, I got this morning. They make him in, grab a handful of pussy, you know, it was all good." And he just turns to his right and just goes, "Sorry about that, Lauren." That's fucking hilarious. And then later he mentioned that later on. He's like, "I don't know what I said. I said
Mick noticed that.
He's like, I said something like, I want to give him a chance because, and then the historically disenfranchised, like the black people would like him to give us a chance too." And he said, "I wish I hadn't said that shit because now whenever I'm in the from the barbershop or something, like people are like, 'Hey Dave, what's up with your boy?' It's like, he's not my boy. Come on." It's like, I wish I hadn't have said that shit.
So now you talking about his jokes is just like video recording them at his shows.
Come on.
Go watch his jokes now just because you've told them.
No, I mean that was
In
on
fairness, Aiden's not very funny.
that was officially
Yeah,
televised.
fair
And go fuck yourself, mate. What were you laughing at, by the way? What sort of face was Mick making there? I don't know.
No, I was actually just going, typical us, first episode back after a week hiatus, and we spend the first 20 minutes not talking about Preacher.
I saw that. Mick looked at the timer and everything went silent for a second. He's like, about to go into the episode. And
Yeah.
he just went, and then he said,
Well, I'm
So
sorry.
Dave Chappelle. The Dave Chappelle cast.
"Welcome to the Dave Chappelle show."
Yeah, so we're doing music Mondays,
Oh,
movies
yeah.
Tuesdays, and Dave Chappelle Wednesdays or whatever.
It's
Like,
just called
Today's
Fucking
Friday.
Fridays.
well, we would have done a Wednesday except for Sicky Mick's sick face over here.
Please don't do that.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I apologize. I'll stop speaking for the rest of the podcast. And you
let's
drop a
turn
little
this
bitch.
ship around.
All right.
Yeah. There'll be no Cape Canaveral for anybody.
Are you getting into this? Schwanzkopf?
Schwanzkopf.
Schwanzkopf.
I
Okay.
apologize for anybody that speaks German or that is German that's watching this shit. I apologize for butchering your language, but I'm sorry. Phonetically speaking, it looks like Schwanzkopf to me. So it was another episode of Preacher. I'm just reading the
I hope
synopsis
so. I fucking hope so.
because I can't remember because I watched it a
This
week
is
and a half
Preaching on
ago.
Preacher,
We watched
you know.
Preacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So Jesse manages to transfer Genesis
Are
to
you
the
literally-
Allfather. I am. I can't remember what happened.
It starts with the Jesse at the Allfather.
Yeah,
It completely starts off where the episode previous left off.
Mhm.
Straight into it.
Yep.
Allfather looking scary as fuck as usual.
That was a great opening
Yeah.
scene as well when he transfers it into the Allfather, causing him to explode.
It did
Fucking
look like
guts
for
everywhere.
a sec he was going to be able to hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even know he actually. Who told me? Was it you or Ken? So the actual syringe he puts in it, that's the one beforehand. Was it a mixture?
Yeah, it wasn't the Tom
Um,
/ Brady one.
No,
Because the Tom / Brady one was in the
Yeah,
yeah.
the chamber, I guess.
secrets.
Yeah,
But yeah,
So he exploded everywhere.
Yeah.
That
Literally.
was fucking disgusting looking.
it was deadly.
That arsehole hanging from the roof.
Oh, that was great.
I felt like Mick on Tuesday. It just
Yeah.
Oh.
vomit.
I love the way it's still farting.
Oh,
Like as
God.
it, like it's in bits and it's
Yeah.
still. Hey, sorry.
You-
Just
you-
podcasting. Your dad just tried to add me on Facebook.
Accept him if you want. Like he's a good he's a good lad.
Sound
Good
bloke.
skin, good skin.
Yeah.
No, he comes
Good
around
lad.
around the podcast time. doesn't he?
Yeah.
But even before the Allfather blew up, he had like a classic line because he said, "Hair Star," like Jesse was like, "Hair Star gave me this gun."
Oh yeah, it's in my left
Yeah.
pocket.
Yeah, and he checks and he's like, "Well, then he shall know my buttocks like few ever have."
Yeah,
Mm.
I fucking love that.
Was that
line.
foreshadowing of sorts?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Or not foreshadowing,
Like-
well, it would have been back because they showed him squashing some other guy's face with his ass.
No, but I mean with the asshole hanging from the ceiling. I was like, well, now like Jesse kind of knows his asshole in a different way as well.
The soul
Yeah,
dripping
I
out of it
suppose.
so slowly as well.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
my
like-
God.
So I love the way it does that whole bad villain thing in that moment of like he shall know my arse, and then it completely goes into no, there is a gun in my pocket. It's
Mhm.
like I'm not
Mm.
falling for that
Yeah,
one.
the monologue.
The monologue type thing, and then
Yeah.
it just goes into no, seriously. And he takes out the gun, and he's just like, well, it's that moment of fuck. He's
Mhm.
after betraying me. Here's Star.
And they kill him off super quick in the episode.
It's the first 5-10 minutes. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
the first major thing that
him
happened.
squashing Jesse and going through the table. Oh,
my
fucking
God.
amazing.
It's
I
so
thought Jesse
good,
was
yeah.
dead there.
The
For
So did
sick
I, yeah.
book
a
of
little
falling
bit. Well, no,
over.
yeah.
Not really.
And also I will say as well, like, do you
the sick pot.
know the way you were saying that,
Rolling around in the sick pot with hair star.
just the way that you guys were saying that you weren't sure if he was going to actually hold Genesis. I think the whole thing that where he was shot and then survived it, that kind of, I think that probably helped that as well. Like,
Probably
oh,
gave
fuck.
a bit of hope towards.
Yeah, he was like, is he
Yeah.
going to survive? Is he going to hold it? That, like, how's that going to work? You know,
And then they just went to that wide angle shot and he exploded.
kabam.
I thought
yeah.
he was going to speak for a second because you could see him talking and his voice
It looked
changing
like
a
he
tiny bit.
inhaled
I was
the
like,
top-
whoa, he's
yeah.
going to speak the words.
Yeah.
And then complete wide shot of
Yeah, that was
That-
awesome.
That
Holy
blood,
shit.
the blood fight between the two of them, though.
That was deadly.
Oh, there was
Oh
that
my
kind of
God.
Western style staring at each other for a second.
Yeah,
Then
it
they
was that,
look
like,
at the soul, look at each
and
other.
then both dive towards it.
And then
So
it looked
good.
like one of them scenes from like a kid's show where they both get slung, like the sludge just
Mhm.
comes out of the top pipe and they're trying
Yeah.
to crawl out a little bucket.
It's a fun
And
house.
then he
just
knocks
it.
over the sick bucket, and then they're
Alright.
sick in the blood and the shit, and then they both look up to that little a-hole still just hanging off the ceiling.
Yeah.
You're like, ah. Oh, man. That was the first.
The 10
10
minutes,
minutes, I
I'd
think,
say.
of that
And
episode
it
was
was
just
probably
that.
the funniest
Yeah.
part of the
He
episode.
really, and then they have the whole thing of he gets his soul, gets Genesis back,
yeah.
which was a big thing. Like
On
it took
your
what,
knees.
9 episodes?
Yeah,
9
so that's the first
episodes?
time
Yeah.
he's had Genesis properly
Since the last season.
last season.
That's
Yeah.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like
I think it's helped with the focus of this because he couldn't just Genesis away all his problems.
yeah,
And you can
I
kind of
suppose.
tell, we'll talk about it in the second half in like part 2, but
Yeah,
when he has Genesis, he can kind of do what he wants
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for the most part. But yeah, I think it was necessary for him to not have it to build that tension.
And even just like if he had Genesis the whole time, I think like it's surprising. We mentioned it a week or two ago that Genesis wasn't even mentioned up until near the arse end of the season,
Mhm.
so to speak.
true.
And
You knew
it, like
he
it,
was always on the hunt for it,
yeah,
but,
But, like-
Grandma,
it
what-
was never
what's
mentioned.
a Genesis?
no, and it didn't hurt it either. Like it actually, this is definitely the strongest season by
Mhm.
far of the 3.
Yeah, like I think if he had Genesis throughout that season, if you think of all the stuff that he came across,
Yeah,
like it would have been a completely obviously different story.
yeah,
But he would have been able to make
Anything
like
happened.
anything
yeah.
that he wanted. Like
Yeah.
Grandma would have died off,
Which would have
at
been
the
kinda boring.
start, Or
Mhm.
but they in the comic they take it away from him as well. But it's actually they do it differently. In the comic, it's God that takes
God
the
takes
it.
affair
Yeah.
away from him, and then he eventually gives it back so that he can kill Jodie, TC, and Grandma. But yeah, no, it's yeah.
And then
It's-
so the two things that also come out of we'll wrap up the Jesse part. Obviously, he has the funny line where he tells her, "Star, no more hats."
Yeah, that was great.
Just he puts on the cowboy hat, is it?
Yeah,
Isn't it? He puts on a cowboy hat.
just
And he goes, "No more hats."
yeah,
You
And you can
really
just see
do
them.
look like a dick, you know that.
You could
Yeah.
really, you could see like the really upsetting look on his face.
yeah.
Oh no!
Oh.
And
Yeah.
then there was the whole Grail plot as to how they were going to set up the nuclear apocalypse.
That was fucking hilarious.
So that old kind of, they've got people that are going to be triggered by the Humperdew dance to
Yeah.
set off the
Yeah.
nuclear codes around the
Yeah.
world.
I won't
And
lie,
she's
I
like,
laughed
what
all the
the
way
hell?
through that.
And did you notice?
I laughed all the way through
I
that.
had the screenshot.
Oh yeah,
That one of the shots from that apocalypse clip was the GPO.
Yes,
Gay
with
pride.
Gay Pride, fucking
Was it?
Put it on my
amazing.
Yeah,
laptop. I'll
yeah.
show it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I couldn't like because I rewound.
we
I was
were
like,
watching
what the
that.
fuck?
and I
Yeah.
said you better pause that screenshot and save it.
Yeah.
that's
oh,
fucking
well, actually,
unreal.
And you
it's
can-
on screen.
You can see it right,
Right
now.
now.
And I just have
We
you-
didn't need to go silent. I don't know
If you're
why.
just listening to the podcast, you
Yeah.
can just check it out on YouTube.
Yeah, it's yeah. I've never been prouder to be Irish than I was right then. It's just
That was
like,
cool.
"Ah,
That
that's
was cool.
fucking-
That was sick.
that's deadly. I love it.
Condemning all the queers.
Also, did anyone notice, like, in that scene with Jesse as well, like, when he uses Genesis, the voice is more angry. It was
Well,
just
it's
a
a lot
thing I noted. It's a
deeper.
lot angrier and deeper than it was before, where it was just simple
Hold on, can
control.
we just pause for a second?
Why, what's up?
Mick,
What?
really, if you're watching this on YouTube, anybody, Mick's using a bleeding Apple Pencil.
So what?
How much did the Apple
Taking
Pen cost
notes,
you,
it
Mick?
doesn't matter.
It matters to me.
Stupidmoney.com. Sorry,
Yeah.
stupidmoney.com.
I will not be tech shamed.
You
But
should be
anyway.
for that. That's ridiculous. Do you know how many cans you could have bought with that money?
Shit,
Fucking
hell of a
law.
lot. I like
8 cans of premium lager.
You could have bought a lot more than 8 cans.
You could
Or
have
a
bought better
200
leads for
million.
your microphones.
Wow.
Could have bought
Because
what?
it took you a while to get a lead for the microphone.
That was just laziness.
You were saving for the Apple
Low blow.
Pencil.
That's it, yeah.
Ironically enough, you got the Apple Pen out of laziness as well.
Hey-o.
You could just use your finger. It's bigger.
It
Here
doesn't.
now.
Roy.
I have one too. It's called a pencil, and I don't have to charge it.
And you can use it on anything.
You have
Yeah,
to charge
in
that
theory.
motherfucker?
You have to charge that, yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't you own a digital, like a fucking smart watch?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like we both have note phones.
I never
and
paid for that.
We don't have to charge our pens.
I stole that from work.
That's because it's a different kind of pen.
It's a better pen.
No, it's a
Why?
stupid capacitive touch pen.
Yeah, but 90%
Also
of the
comes with
products
the
that
product.
you own are built by Samsung.
I don't care.
But we won't go into that. Anyway, back to the podcast.
Yeah,
So join us,
for
join
the
us next
release
week for the Tech Cast on
That's
on
Tuesday
Wednesday.
mornings.
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday mornings.
Tech Tuesday. We're going to call it. Anyway,
You forgot the big thing about that scene.
what?
And then with the releasing of the humper
Yeah,
news
all the humper
Oh
dudes.
Like-
my god.
around the world. I love the one with the car.
The car doesn't even stop.
No.
Just keeps going. It's like, I don't care.
Why would it stop?
I love that they're just randomly, like in scenes, they're just wandering around.
When he walks out of the building, there's still one in the revolving door just
Oh.
walking around.
My
I read-
favourite one is the whacking off in the corner. You know when he goes, I need my Messiah, and it looks at the room and it's he's giggling in the corner, jerking off.
It sounded like you were saying horse over and over
Oh,
again.
I hope not.
I read
That's so
online,
bad.
and I'm not going to take credit for this idea, but it would be so good that if Preacher gets renewed for a 4th season, an ongoing joke is just a random humper dude
Oh, I was
in
thinking
like
that.
Yeah,
every
yeah.
second episode,
I
just
hope
doing
so.
something weird or getting maimed in a stupid way.
I
Just
hope
like
that.
licking a lamppost in
Yeah.
the background.
Oh, man, they'd be missing a trick if they didn't do that.
Yeah.
They'd
I
have
hope.
to.
Yeah,
They're
they
gonna
have to.
have to. There was hundreds of them. They have to wander through America
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
they're going through it. Otherwise, what's
Yeah.
the point?
Yeah, they have to. Yeah.
Was that the end of Jesse's one?
That was
think-
pretty much all, because then,
He leaves.
well, he gets the last shot of the episode as well,
Yeah.
where he's
That's true.
standing at the gates of Angelville,
Lights
going
a cigarette,
in.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're very well prepped for what Jesse's gonna have to do in episode 10.
I think so. Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
and we will get into that in part 2. It's yeah,
Amazing.
he's ready to go.
Yeah.
He's ready to go.
Yeah.
Good to go,
time for-
fam.
and that.
So
side
who
of
do
the
we want
story.
to hit next?
Do you want to do the? We do.
I guess the
we-
Cassidy
We
stuff,
could
right?
be a bit
Yeah,
more
Cassidy.
organised.
Cassidy stuff will do.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is it's this episode, isn't it, where he gets nailed to the pool
Yeah,
table?
so it thankfully did not do the thing that I had said in episode 8 I feared it was going to do
Yeah, you
in a-
paranoid fuck.
in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
So I had thought he'd go in and they'd be blaming him for the deaths of the vampires.
yeah.
Right.
What they actually just because they'd seen him with the red
Pillow.
pillow, whereas it was actually he went in, got to plead with them, but Icarius had already said he killed Hoover only,
Yeah.
and then they obviously attack him and nail him to the fucking pool table, which is horrendous.
What a waste of a
Yeah.
pool table.
Yeah, it's just like that thing in the general, isn't it? Didn't that happen in the general?
Kind
Think-
of similar to it.
Didn't Jimmy from Fair City get nailed to a pool table in that film as well?
God. Icarius, one thing I noted about that scene as well, Icarius trying to explain to Cassidy when they're having that argument
Yeah.
is like, it was just so pathetic. Like, it was just like that almost like cartoon vampire trying to say, but I have to do this kind of thing. Come
Yeah.
on, join me. And then it just,
And it's the kind of
the only thing Cassidy throws back at him is, you're a bleeding mental case. Fucking
But
great.
Cassidy, as a drug
Love
user, hears all these excuses, I
Yeah.
imagine. Because
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, these are all the excuses drug users use for why they're doing drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
You're
is
not
what...
in a Kevin Spacey film. I thought that was a cool line.
What film?
Cassidy
What?
goes,
Sorry,
you
what?
think you're living in a Kevin Spacey film?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I remember that now.
And then they
draw the curtain and it's miles away.
just started a
Oh
huge
my
fight.
God,
I thought that was great. They
that
just
was
it
great.
goes into a
like
huge fight.
comedy just thrown in where it's like this build up to opening the curtains.
Mhm.
They open her up and it's like 10 foot away from him.
A very slow.
I'm embarrassed for you right now.
Yeah.
The very slow impending death.
It's like that
Um,
Icarius is like Dracula to Cassidy when
Yeah.
he's trying to fight him, and you just like I love the where Cassidy tries to that grab where you grab both arms like
Mhm.
that, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey, where'd you go? Get out of thing. It's so cartoony or like kind of comedy
when
style.
The curtains, I was just being like very, very pedantic about it, and I was like, the angle of the window
That's not how
to
sun
where
works.
he is. If the sun sets, it might just hit his toe.
Ken had his T-square. I was like, wait a minute. There's no truth in this art.
Yeah. God damn you, preacher.
Yeah.
Not being true to Earth's rotating and the sun.
Just picture there with your set squares and your abacus and just said, nope, this isn't going to work at all. This is bullshit.
I thought this whole section was kind of dragging on a little bit.
They
With Cassidy?
The Cassie thing. I think it was just one of the thing of it was the same thing for the last kind of 3 episodes, kind of just slowly building up to something I know is going to happen in the next episode.
Nah,
like,
work for me, man. I
come
liked
on.
it.
Like the only part I really pissed myself laughing at is Cassidy lines and the one who owns the house.
Yeah.
Old woman.
I'll go make a lasagna.
Mrs. Rosen.
I thought that was just fucking great. Like she looks up and he's just nailed to the fucking thing. It's just like, I'm gonna go make a lasagna. Yeah. Fucking. I love that woman. She's fucking fantastic.
I don't think I felt the same way as you. I actually enjoyed the Cassidy stuff. And
I thought it was great, yeah.
I didn't think it outstayed its welcome because it was kind of interspersed between the other bits of the episode.
Yeah.
And it kind of it left an obvious setup for the finale. So obviously the Cassidy stuff kind of ends with, I'm not going to take. He can I have the last request of a dying man, I think is what he says to Mrs. Rosen. And she's like, I'm not going to take you down. And so, no.
I love that. It's like,
just
I'm not
call,
taking you down,
and I think,
Cassidy.
is it Lisa? He says, call Lisa and just, you have her number, don't you? And then she walks off. So he's planting that seed.
Yeah.
And it was kind of, so he ends the episode in a very precarious situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking nailed to it. Like,
And then we have the Angel of Death and Tulip and Arseface and all that.
Arseface is such a dickhead.
I said that.
He's not a dickhead. He's a fucking
fucked it up.
He's a fucking idiot for
that's
doing
you
that.
actually when we were watching that episode.
Tulip O'Hare.
Yeah, like she isn't her full name.
Dickhead.
Why?
Oh,
like you didn't know any better, obviously. But he's an idiot
you
for
can
doing
see
that
it in
shit.
Tulip's face at that exact moment. Oh, for fuck, and she starts to run.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just that whip.
Yeah.
I wish that shotgun got him.
Skank. That skank. I go by other names. The Angel of Death.
That was mad.
How about Satan's bitch? That was good shit.
That was actually a really fun part to it as well, because you even see like Jodie in the background, just kind of being like,
Yeah, just leaning against
I
the
wonder
car.
what's
Just,
gonna happen.
I'll see what
this
happens.
is going to be fun. The fact that she gets away with the whole thing and even finished like singing that like songs and hymns, it was like, you need to shut the fuck up right now.
See, when she went back, she was explaining to her that she wasn't Tulip O'Hare.
Yeah,
To
but
see
she
if
wasn't
she'd let
going to
her
say
go
that.
who Tulip O'Hare
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And then Eugene came.
Yeah.
Tulip O'Hare. Hey, Tulip, it's me, Eugene. You fucking arseface.
You daffy duck fuck.
You might want to disinfect this mic. I don't have like a.
It's alright, it's
protectory
not
thing.
mine.
That Angel of Death.
You don't have herpes, right?
I'm saying it right now. That Angel of Death would get it.
If she put that whip around my legs and drive me towards her, I would have a
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
boner. Oh
You'd
my
put
god,
like
I'd
an
fuck
anchor
her to
dragging
death.
through the ground.
Yeah. And like, we'll talk about it later. Even with no eyes, still would. Still fucking would.
Well,
I
because
really-
then there's an extra 2 holds. Anyway,
Exactly. Skull fucker.
So
Oh.
the bus actually had
I'd
a
fuck
long
her,
journey.
Ken.
There was-
I'd
yeah.
fuck her brains out.
Hey.
What?
There was
In her eyes.
Oh.
there was quite a bit on the bus.
A
Yeah.
lot. The bus
Yeah.
was a huge part of this episode.
The
and
bus
I
was
wasn't
deadly.
expecting it.
I loved how the plans were drawn on
Oh, that was
screen
fantastic.
as they were coming up with them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I got these chains, and I'm gonna throw them on. They're gonna
Yeah.
go around the car and whatever. But it's like drawn what's
Yeah.
gonna happen as it is, and then it's just like doo-doo, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
It's like
So good.
Even
And
just
then you can see
visually.
the 2 of them kind of looking in the mirror, just being like, "These aren't getting off the
They knew it.
fucking
They
bus."
knew it exactly.
Yeah.
Every time something bad happens, you just see the Angel of Death staring at them like idiots. Like
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
looking at
I'd,
them going
I'd
idiots.
say that's why he went up and sat up the front of the bus. We're like, we'll let them have the back of the bus and try to escape. It's not going to fucking happen. Like,
Yeah. The visually as well, the whole bus thing was just looked amazing. Like.
yeah.
Mhm.
I love the whole.
I
the
did
way they
like
did
the
it.
whole idea about it.
Just the
thing-
greyness and stuff.
Hitler
outside.
definitely had the best line, I think, maybe of the whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that bus, and
Okay.
because it's to do with reference. Like, he looks back at like arseface and says something, and then they're really worried, and then you see the angel of death come, and he just goes, "You've got to think, what would Jesus do?"
Yeah.
I fucking lost it. Absolutely lost it. I was like, Hitler saying, "What would Jesus do?"
Yeah.
Done. Absolutely done.
Yeah, and how that whole thing eventually goes down, where Tulip sets off the bomb, basically,
Yeah.
and gets the Saint of Killers to like push her into the window to crack the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a way to escape. Like, I will risk my face for this window to break.
Well, it's either that or go to hell, for Christ's sake. I mean, you know, like it's...
I love that Hitler
Might as well
seizes
roll the
that
dice.
moment and goes, like, tries to jump through the window.
Yeah.
And that's when the Nazis attack.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah. Not a fucking tank. Like,
yeah.
Like a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
I was not expecting
You don't find
a
that
tank.
out till episode 10, but...
No, it was when Tulip
It was
puts out
at the
black-
end.
At the glass, it ends with the tank.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Sorry?
So answer me one question. If I'm going to question this whole window with the sun thing, how the fuck did a tank catch up on that bus?
Yeah, it's very true, because it
I
looks
don't
like
know,
they're
it drove
surrounded
at
by
right
smoke
angles
the
to
whole
it.
This
time.
is a bus to hell. So this thing's going to be blazing trail through this big massive cloud of
Where is
smoke.
it going? Like,
That's what I was thinking. It was one of the only parts of this episode I was really fucking confused about. Because when they're on the bus, it's loads of smoke.
mhm.
Yeah.
And then when they're off the bus, it's just like North
Well, I
Carolina
think the
or
smoke
something.
dissipated because like they would have like been lost on their track. So I think they would have had to drive along with the smoke until they got somewhere. I was watching it to see if there was going to be like an in-joke reference of like a state in America.
Oh, okay.
So seeing a road sign of like Louisville or wherever it may have been, like
the
this
entrance
is where
to hell is
is.
here
You
or
know what I
something.
mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
The crossroads or some shit like that.
Yeah,
You know?
something stupid like,
Yeah.
but it was just a cloud of smoke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole time was cloud
Yeah.
of smoke.
And
It was
then
only
they
when
even
it stopped,
joked
it was
about
like,
it, saying, "Jesus, this is a very long drive."
Yeah. I think I noticed that as well. I goes, this journey is dragging just as that was said.
Yeah.
I was like, huh. Never mind.
Driving from New Orleans to somewhere.
Hell.
Yeah.
Where's close to New Orleans?
So
Don't
the
even know
flipping
where
of the
New Orleans
bus.
is.
The flipping of the bus,
Mhm.
where that has that slow motion
Yeah.
type thing.
Brilliant.
Did anyone think that was really impressive? It
Probably,
reminded me
yeah.
of Anchorman 2 a little
The only
bit.
thing I noticed is,
Yeah.
I think, was the Angel of Hell went the opposite way to everybody else, which annoyed me.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember
I
Arseface.
think so.
He's just like,
I think it was more, just dramatic effect kind of.
Yeah.
One was going this way, and then when they went off screen, the next person came on the other way,
But
even
then they
though...
all followed
Yeah.
that way because that was the way the bus was turning. See, I'm thinking too deep into this type of shit. I have to
Mhm.
just watch it as a TV show and not be a dick.
Yeah.
no. We like to tear things apart on this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, no, that was stupid.
Like the Angel of Death. Anyway.
There's very little to actually give out about on this episode, so like you may as well fucking
hmm
take your shots where you can.
Yeah.
You know what I
I'd
mean?
let her
Like-
keep her Angel of Death voice as well if she was riding.
Oh fuck yeah!
Could you imagine?
And then,
Yes. Yes.
I mean, this screen is blank right now. The only reason I have a laptop in front of me is just to hide my boner when we talk about the Angel of Death. Quite frankly,
The
what
suit was a fair bit tight, in fairness.
does that cover us off? And I know the only other thing that happened was TC telling Madame Langelle that Jessie hadn't come back yet
yeah,
because she was looking sick,
Yeah.
and her being like, "Oh, he'll be back to kill me,"
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
and that was
but
kind of it.
I can't remember when was it. The one that we're going to discuss in the next half of this episode with the devil? Did the devil not meet Madame Langelle? Or was
Don't
that
think so. There's nothing about it here on Wikipedia, so I don't think so.
That was last episode.
That
was
was
episode
episode
Last
8.
eight.
episode, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it?
Episode 8 to
That's,
Tom Brady.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we record 2 episodes at once, it gets a bit confusing as to what happened
Yeah,
in what
goddamn,
episode.
you
I
get
am
fucking
really
sick,
lucky
mate.
Sorry.
that my notes for the second... I don't know why I didn't do this all season, but you can have a look. I split the notes into 3 parts.
That makes
Angelville,
sense.
the bus, and the Children of Blood. All 3 have their own points. And you know what? I should have done it from the fucking beginning.
My notes are split up here.
Next season.
Like,
You're too
Yeah.
organised,
next
you
season,
prick.
I am very ridiculously organised.
Final
on this.
thoughts on that episode? Sorry, I'm taking over from your presentation.
No, that's all right. No,
No, we've got to do the hair stars as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, I thought it was fucking excellent.
Yeah.
A nice ramp up to what ended up being an epic finale as well, which we'll discuss in about 5 minutes. Yeah, what did you guys think, Mick?
I enjoyed it. I think it was a good ramp up for the fact that there was 1 episode left.
Yeah,
They wrapped up some stories that could be wrapped up So like they wrapped up the Allfather stuff, and
Yeah.
it seemed like they wrapped up the Hairstar stuff at that point.
To some degree they did, yeah. But
At
we
least
now
in
know there's more
relation,
shit.
at least in relation to Jesse.
Yeah.
And the rest of the stuff they left kind of very close to the edge. So the final episode is going to be Jesse going back to Angelville. So I think it worked well as
Yeah.
here's the second to last episode, and we're getting shit set up for the last
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
You can kind of see exactly where it was going.
Yeah.
And it kind of got you pumped for the last episode.
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
So I really, really enjoyed it.
Erect
Yeah.
for the last episode. What did you think, Ken? It was.
I just thought it was great. I
Yeah.
think it was a perfect builder for
Yeah.
a season finale.
Mm-hmm.
It was in itself like that. Him walking to that gate of Angelville
Yeah, that was excellent.
could have been a season finale episode.
Yeah, true.
It
Could've
could have
been,
left
yeah.
you.
A big
It could have just
cliffhanger, yeah.
it could, because
That's a
that was
cliffhanger.
massive. Because you've been expecting him to come back for so long,
Mm-hmm.
through
'Cause
the
it kind
whole
of-
season, for him to leave and to come back
It
with
kind of comes
Genesis.
full circle at that point, doesn't it? Because
That
it
would
starts
have
going into
pissed
Angela.
me off.
Yeah, walking, that's a very long path. I'm going to have to wait a year for him to walk
Uh-huh.
up this fucking path.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Joe,
would have been very annoyed.
Yo, Lennon, what about you?
I really think this is one of those episodes of the whole season, the same as the last 8 beforehand, and this season's just been phenomenal for this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And this one here, the 9th, just before the finale, they
Yeah.
completely brought every storyline. Like I feel it's as we said, split into 3,
Mhm.
and all 3 stories have come to their really cliff edge, and like the finale's just as they jump off.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's ready to. It just got it ready to go for the finale.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like everybody's story is ready to either
Absolutely,
end
yeah.
or move on to something different.
yeah,
Not a lot of shows can pull that off when
yeah.
it fills up like that. In the second last episode,
Yeah.
you might get a shitty little thing, but no.
Yeah.
Before we-
really,
yeah.
every episode's been.
Before we do the
fantastic.
hair star stuff, one thing we didn't mention was just a line that will become important in the next episode,
Okay.
where the Angel of Death and Saint of Killers are talking, and she mentions that. I think did she mention that Eugene and Tulip aren't even meant to be
Oh, yeah.
in hell,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
that
true.
the rules have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. God's
that was-
missing. The rules have
Yeah.
changed.
So that was kind of when we talk about the next episode, that becomes important.
And
Yeah.
she did talk to him on the bus about his daughter's death as well.
That's
Oh,
next
fuck.
episode, I think.
I think there was
I
a little
think-
bit in
No,
both,
that
but she was
was-
there was
starting to
both.
kind
She
of
was.
cajole
she
them.
was.
She was starting to.
Just
she
rile
was
them up
pecking
for
at it.
some reason.
She was pecking
Whoa.
at it.
Whoa.
It was a nudge.
Yeah.
I'm writing that
was
down
like-
to edit it out.
Pre-shadowing? Foreshadowing.
Yeah, there is a thing in
Yes.
the next, and she says something very
Yeah.
horrible. I think I have it written down, the
Yeah.
exact quote, because I knew it was going to be important.
Look at you with your bleeding pen.
But yeah.
All right.
So,
But yeah,
stars, I suppose.
so with my new little jingle for the end. How many stars on a hair star?
Are you going to have a jingle?
That's
I just
the
did
jingle.
it.
Did you
Okay,
create
that
one?
was
It's a
that was,
manual
just right
jingle.
now.
I'm going to need a little piano.
that was
Oh,
amazing.
no, not piano. Sorry, piani.
If you want, I
Yeah.
have a kid's piano over there. We just play it.
I'll do it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Ken?
All right.
So yeah, how many stars on the hair star? Since the seats are mixed up, Joe is normally on the left hand side, Mick is normally on the right, and Aidan's just in the middle,
I'm
just being the
currently on
bacon
the
to the
right hand
sandwich.
side of the couch.
Camera.
You're the bacon
Wise.
sandwich.
Yes.
He's the bacon in the sandwich right
Oh, okay.
now. I'm gonna go with the bacon first.
Uh,
Best part.
oh, yeah. Thanks, Ken. I would give this one 4 hair stars
4 hair stars.
because it was fucking class bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it made me all hard and excited.
Apart from the Angel of Death making it hard.
Sorry, I was just picturing her with no clothes on. Yeah, no, it was great. It was excellent. Like, you know, the setup and you know the way they finished off the Allfather stuff. Just we've talked about it to death at this point. Yeah, it was just it was fucking brilliant. It was excellent. 4 stars.
Cool. To the bun on Aidan's left.
That's me, isn't it?
Yeah.
4 hair stars, straight off the bat.
Yeah.
It's
4 to 4.
leading into something great. We talked about it a few minutes ago there, but
Yeah.
4 hair stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mihal.
I think if we did half stars, I'd probably go 3.5, but we don't, so I'm actually going to go for a 3 hair stars. I liked it as a build-up episode to the finale, and it's very possible my judgment is clouded by the finale,
Or
kind of
the cloud around the bus.
or the cloud around the bus, yeah,
Mm.
overshadowing it. But yeah, I thought it was a solid episode that got some shit done and left me wanting to see what happens in the last episode.
So even though it gave you a big cliffhanger
Boner.
for you wanting that next episode.
Yeah, I'm
You're
still
only
with
giving
a
it 3?
3. Yeah.
Okay. I can change it on screen right now if you want.
No.
No, okay.
Stop.
For me, I don't know if you call him me or him myself.
I think it was
this guy.
both.
Him.
For me, I really did enjoy that whole cliffhanger thing.
Yeah.
As I said, like that, I would have been a bit pissed off, but I could understand if they had a left whole Jesse at Angelville as the cliffhanger for the season finale, which I would have been like, yeah, perfect, happy days. What leaves you wanting a hell of a lot more. The only thing that annoyed me about the episode would have been the Limfons Not Hong part of it. I don't think I really enjoyed that because it was the same shot over and over again of him just taped to the pool table. Well, not taped, staked.
Tape stick.
And it was just that for me. I was just a bit like, oh, come on, get it somewhere. That's the only thing that's dropped for me, but with everything else, I give it 4 hair stars.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm the outlier on this episode.
Yeah, you scumbag.
Yep.
Fuck.
Bitch.
Better get your shit straight for the second part.
So
Aiden, wanna rock with it?
So join us in part 2. We're going to be talking about episode 10, the season finale of Preacher season 3. It's called The Light Above. Join us, won't you?
And in a 5, 4, 3.
What episode number is this? I'm sorry.
Wow, you really jolted up right there.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? And welcome to part 2 of Preaching on Preacher, episode 84 or something. So we're going to be talking about...
or something.
We're talking about The Light Above, the season finale. And by the way, I'd like to point out, IMDb finally copped the fuck on and just changed it to from 13 episodes to 10.
Idiots.
After, fucking morons. Obviously after,
Language.
presumably after the voiceover goes like, in the season finale of Preaching on Preacher.
Oh shit! I
And the
better
season
edit that
finale of
I was gonna
AMC's
say,
Preacher.
they announced our season finale.
They did, yeah. We're blowing up. Anyway, so we had for the first time in a while, it opened up with a flashback of young Jesse, being watched by God and Satan as he attempts to kill Grandma, but does not follow through.
That was so fucking
It
cool.
was very cool. I
Like,
love that opening. It was great.
Slow opening.
Yeah.
God's just standing in the corner. He gets downstairs. He's eating breakfast, and it's like, there's the devil. So does that mean this has been playing out since he was young?
Yeah.
Like, is this story?
I took it as more kind
They've
of
been following
figurative
him.
because the God appeared when he left the bat in his room. So it was him making the good decision not to take the bat down.
Never spotted that.
And
That's
then
nice.
the devil appeared when he was gonna mash her face in with.
I'm going to kill Grandma.
Yeah.
He grabs the bat and is about to go for it, isn't
So
he?
it's kind of. I took it as the kind of the angel and devil, the God and devil on his shoulders.
Oh, okay.
And just kind of that metaphor of that.
They're always, They're
I
always
think
there.
they were actually in the house.
I don't know.
And
Just
he was
chilling in
just
the crib.
sitting there, like watching. He would like the devil was just sitting there chilling in the kitchen, having a cup of tea, waiting for his appointment.
Yeah.
You know,
Waiting for this witch.
Yeah.
She wants
Devil's
to eat
like,
her breakfast.
oh, looks like I'm next.
It's the devil Michael Keaton from 1990.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, wait.
What's going on?
Whoa. Hey, this could be a new look for me.
That is totally going to be a film I'm going to review, just saying.
Well, looks like I'm next.
So that morning, anyway, was kind of the thing we've been hearing about quite a lot of Jesse leaving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The day he leaves to meet Tulip in Texas.
Yeah.
They talked about it so much. It was actually nice to see it. And I said this at the start of the season that I was really loving the young Jesse stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm so
he's
glad
a
they're showing a
good
lot.
actor as well. Like.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
not
he's
bad.
very good, isn't he?
Like, not bad at all. And to see that story and then be totally in the now, in the time,
Mm-hmm.
to see that come back. And I'm glad the season finale had something with the young Jesse. Was great. Yeah, I thought that was a great little opening.
Yeah.
And then we had probably one of the coolest moments of the whole season for me. Like every once in a while, this thing comes around. I'm like, okay, I thought that was the coolest. Now this is the coolest.
So
and it's
are
him
we
leaving? The young Jesse leaving.
Oh, and then the sepia fade to the modern day, him returning
Yeah.
and somewhat talking to
You
his
should have
old
killed
self.
her
Yeah.
when you had the chance. I was like, or you should have killed her. And then it's like, well, now's your chance.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that is so fucking cool. And then it goes into the intro.
Fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That was just
really
so good.
It was it was a very good kind of effective opening,
Like
and it used
even the way when the camera panned, you could see that angle of the black and white and
Mm-hmm.
sepia following them.
Yeah.
It
That
was
was
really
cool.
And then like I remember copping that I seen Jesse, big Jesse, older Jesse,
Big Jesse.
Bessie.
big Jesse,
Bessie.
Little Jesse.
in the black and white tone,
Yeah.
but his head was like overlaying that cut, and he was still in color.
Yeah.
And then there was like that the break was behind him.
Yeah.
So like matching that frame for frame would have been like really awkward to do.
Oh, I'd say so.
But it was like so well done. It was really like on point.
I didn't even overthink it. Like, you know, I was like, oh, how are they
I
talking
did.
to each other? No, it was just a really fucking cool little scene.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, straight into the
Yeah,
intro.
and it could more just
Like-
be, hey, it was in his head, and he was
Yeah.
thinking to himself, I could have killed her,
Yeah.
and then now I have the chance. Do we want to stay with the Jesse stuff then?
Yeah, we'll do Angelville first.
Okay.
We might as well.
Yes.
So Jesse returns.
Mm-hmm. And his first encounter in the house is with TC.
Oh, poor little TC. I love TC. Like, he's just great.
We were talking about this on the. I think we're jumping ahead a little bit, but we were talking about this in the car on the way to work the other day. Mick was saying I read online that they're actually like Jodie and TC are more likable in the show.
Yeah.
and
They
it's
are.
kind
They
of true.
are.
Like,
Definitely are.
They're apparently way better characters in the show than they ever were in the comic.
in a lot of ways, that's true. Like in the comics, they're two of my favorite characters, but in this way, they're way more sympathetic. Like they're way more likable, particularly TC.
Wait, Mick, you're referencing the comic. Did you read them?
No, I'm saying I read people say...
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
That.
thought you might
No,
have
no,
just
sorry.
read them in the time you were
I'll
vomiting.
have...
to do
what else are you
something.
going to do? Yeah.
You didn't get sick of my comics, did you?
I don't have your comics.
Oh, sorry, right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Hardback edition. They can wipe off easily.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Did you laminate them?
no.
Just the Angel of Death
Laminate.
pages.
Yeah, just Angel of Death
You
pages.
monster.
Sorry, yeah.
So yeah, he comes in contact with TC and gets like uses Genesis on him to
Get back, wasn't it? And he.
Oh, that was
flies
so
up
cool.
back
TC
against
was
the wall.
terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, TC's facial expressions every
But
time.
there was genuine sympathy for him because he gets him to shoot himself in the foot,
Yeah.
and then it's like gets him to follow him, but he's fucking limping after him,
Yeah.
and he is like he doesn't really know what's going on, and
Yeah.
like
When it gets to a scene later on and he tells him to go get something, you can see him like that running, skipping.
Yeah.
It's like that awkward run you do when
You're
the
very
light
excited
turns
and you're
green
six.
when you're crossing the road. And you're like, oh shit.
It's like Laura Dern's character in
Yeah.
Laura Dern's character in Jurassic Park when she's trying to run back to the fucking plane to get away from the dinosaurs. Like
Yeah,
that.
Get up.
That kind of
get
limp.
up, get up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, we almost had Jesse going in, and then, of course, you've got to meet the other henchman,
Yeah.
Jody, just as he's about to open the doors.
And
Right.
Predictably
You're gonna
enough,
have to
but
go
like,
through me.
predictably enough, but it doesn't hurt at all. He decides not to use the voice on TC or on Jody. Sorry.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
a moment of I need revenge. No,
Yeah.
not
I-
revenge.
I
I
need
need
to
to
do this on my
avenge my
own.
father.
Yeah.
So it was like,
absolutely.
let's
and his mother.
Let's do this in the tombs,
Yeah.
which was a cool fucking.
I wasn't
moment.
expecting to go down the tunes. I should have seen that one coming as well.
Mhm.
But like, let's go to the tunes. Like, oh
Just
fuck yeah.
how
Go back to
ex-
where it all started. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
was
excited
fucking vicious.
TC is to put on the top
Oh,
hat.
that was so
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
what,
that's
what's the
cute.
line? I've always wanted to say that. It's like,
Yeah.
Did he not
You
call them
mud.
goat humpers or
Yeah,
something?
you go or was it? Yeah,
You motherfucking
well,
goat humpers.
goat humpers.
I've
Yeah.
always wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Top hat was fantastic.
Yeah.
That fight was fucking vicious.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Holy
satisfying.
shit.
Slamming his head into the wall. It was so much. It
I
was
even
just
like
so
the way
good.
the lighter fell out of his pocket,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and Jody looked down at it
That was
and
wonderful.
seen it,
Yeah.
and then just continued fighting.
So
Yeah.
I wondered where that had gotten to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, I stole this from your father years ago. And then, of course, you had the flashbacks as well. Like,
Yeah.
it was kind of that coming full circle of today's the day.
yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to
And,
fucking...
and you actually seen a pan out from the gun to his dad's head.
yeah.
You seen a pan out.
That
to
was
Jody
so well
standing there
done, yeah.
holding the gun, and I was like, now you know exactly who it was. Like,
Yeah.
Because
you
obviously
had
when
the
they filmed that,
suspicion.
like originally with his dad, that was definitely not the actor playing Jody
No.
at the time. So the way they panned it and the blood
Yeah.
splatter on his cheek
Yeah.
was like, that was fucking perfect.
But it even, and maybe it was just me reading too much into it, but it looked like he had a tinge of regret when
After
he
he'd
shot
done
him
it?
in the face.
you think
Because
so?
it's kind of like,
I didn't read that. No.
I just thought he might have had a little bit of a look of, ooh.
that's gonna come back on me someday. That type
Maybe in that
it
way,
was
yeah.
like he looked at Jesse and was just like, oh shit, I just shot a father in front of his kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I was like, that could come back on me someday.
Yeah.
So, and it did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's making a point of making the son watch his dad's death.
Yeah.
Is definitely a thing where this could come back to me.
Yeah.
I
Like-
have to say, I literally like nearly shat myself when I seen him get up off the
Oh,
ground. I was like, what?
What? Oh, come
Yeah.
on.
Really?
This guy ever just fucking die?
And then when he said it,
Why
like,
won't you die?
when he's like, yeah, exactly. When he's like, proud of you, boy, and he hits the ground
Yeah.
straight from the comic.
But
Yeah.
it also
Yeah.
it seems
Exactly
like
the way it happens in comic. He
it
says the same thing
seems
and
like
does.
it's like a proud moment for TC because all
For
through
Jodie, you mean?
For Jodie.
Sorry, for
Yeah.
Jodie. Because all through the season, Jodie's been like, you know, you're never gonna beat me, or you've not beaten me yet. And they had a fight that seemed a little friendly, if not
Yeah.
violent,
There was like
in
4
like
fights.
episode 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
you nearly put the car on top of it.
Yeah.
We was
But
only
it did,
playing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then when he finally bests him, it does actually seem like he's genuinely proud. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, good on you, well done.
Proud of you, boy.
Like
Yeah.
when he got
And
up
then
off the
falls
ground,
dead on his face.
when he
Yeah.
did get up, I was a bit like, okay, does he have some power that he actually can't die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking it was something like that too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here we go. But then, yeah, he just collapses down. And then...
Go
one of
get
the
some gas on the...
Yeah, that's when he does the funny run.
Yeah.
But then it was just like TC and the whole, like...
That was heartbreaking.
Oh my god!
I never thought I'd feel anything for TC. Knowing
Yeah.
and
No.
reading the comics, I was
Mhm.
like, when he dies, when they bring him into it, I'm not going to fucking feel anything.
Yeah.
The fucking show made me feel a lot for TC. Just that moment of, like, I've got
He's
no
like-
other
he's-
place to be.
Exactly.
Knowing full well you're going to kill Grandma after this, and Jodie's dead, what the fuck am I going to do?
And
Yeah.
it's,
It's like-
I think it
And
was
Preacher kind of pleads with him because he's like,
I don't hate you that much.
yeah, I don't hate you that much. And he's trying to get him to come, but obviously he doesn't want to use, like, this time he doesn't want to use the power on him to get him to
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
Which, he, in theory, he could have just said, find a new purpose or done any of that stuff. But
Yeah.
I think he likes TC enough that he respects his decision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
which is
a
weird.
captain wanting to go down with his ship.
Yeah.
It's his farm, and he's like, if you're gonna destroy it, I'm gonna
Yeah,
go with it.
And I think
Yeah.
as well, it was maybe him taking some sort of responsibility for what has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it was
maybe,
kind
yeah.
of like, again, you're saying he was part of this farm, he was part of this whole growing
Yeah.
up. And
He's an accessory. If nothing
exactly,
else, yeah.
and if even Jesse saying, I don't hate you that much, he still, well, no, this is where I belong. So,
Yeah.
and then, just
Yeah.
flicking the cigarette over to them.
Because I
And,
think he literally could have tried to get up and stop Jesse from trying to kill Grandma.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, I fear that power because
Mhm.
he threw me against a wall and got me to shoot myself in the foot.
yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave him be.
TC says it directly just before even the lighter or the cigarette is thrown. He goes, I know this isn't a good place. There's a lot of evil here, and I'm part of that.
Yeah.
It's just like it was. It's a responsibility kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, it was good. It made me feel for TC. I never
Yeah.
thought it
I
fucking
kinda
would.
felt bad for
TC is
him
an
a bit.
amazing fucking character in the show.
And
I
that's
fucking love it.
that just lends to the notion of what Mick was saying about people online saying that Jodie and TC are way more likable in this and way more.
Definitely.
They're way
And-
more nuanced.
Yeah,
I would
and,
probably
like-
say is what I got from that, because
Yeah.
it seemed like the characters in the comic, while people liked them, they were fairly one note. Like there was no redeeming qualities.
Yeah,
to
like
them.
one note's probably the wrong phrase, but I know what you're saying. Like it's kind of like they're just reprehensible on every
Yeah.
level, but they're still they're the sort of characters you'd love to hate.
Yeah,
And it also reminded me now. I've mentioned this on the way to work as well on Tuesday, on Tuesday.
Mhm.
I was saying, like, do you remember, like, have you guys read there's one of the volumes of Preacher, where they have a backstory of the Sandy Killers, the backstory of Arseface, and like not a backstory as such, but a previous story with Jodie and TC, and the opening panel is just like a couple of years back before they was dead.
That's class.
As I just
So if you had read that before the comics, you would have. Oh shit.
yeah, but and weirdly enough, like as reprehensible as they are in all the books, in that story they're actually very likable. It's which is strange. Like
When
Mhm.
they're normal before the
Yeah.
farm kicks in. Like
they're not normal; they're still fucked up. But like
Yeah.
they sort of save this damsel in distress and stuff like that, and Jodie bangs her and stuff and all that. Oh, it's gas. That's a great story.
sounds
yeah.
gas.
It's very, very funny and really well done and shit. I think TC fucks a fish in that one, if I'm not mistaken.
He fucks a lot of things.
Yeah, he does.
Because even after that, like, you see the burning of the tombs.
Yeah.
So
just the smoke
they-
bellowing out.
as the great writing of this season has gone, they have a tragedy, something like, well, not a tragedy, but like, you know, something like that where you're like, oh, that was kind of sad. Straight into the texting between Tulip and Jesse.
Oh,
was
so
hilarious.
good.
It was like,
looking.
it was that light-hearted, let's change it up a bit.
Yeah.
Because
Thumbs up.
the rest of it's not going to be any better, so let's put
Yeah.
a little bit of lightheartedness in it. And it's like, what are you up to? It's gonna find Cass. And then there's
What are you up to?
What are you-
Just gonna go kill Grandma.
Grandma.
BRB.
Yeah.
and the talk. Yeah, perfect. Fucking
Yeah.
perfect.
Mhm.
Because then straight away we go into Jesse confronting Grandma,
Yeah.
which I expected the first 30 seconds not to go like the way it did.
Yeah.
Like the free tulip. It
yeah.
was like, my debt is paid.
Mhm.
You're like, okay.
So it's what I mentioned in the first half.
Genesis, baby.
Yeah, it's what I mentioned
Yeah.
in the first half. He had Genesis throughout the whole season. You know, the entire season doesn't happen because he goes in, makes the same deal with Grandma to save Tulip. As soon as Tulip's saved, he uses Genesis to reverse all the promises he makes, and they leave.
Then we wouldn't have got TC, and he was my favorite character.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So the whole
This
fact that he
season,
didn't
anyway.
have Genesis throughout it kind of made the story. I was quite happy with how they dealt with Madame Langell. So to kind of finish off the story, after Jesse makes her give up or call off the debt, and give up the tie to Tulip, then it comes into my one hang up with this episode is like she's arranged a new deal with the devil
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
if he kills her, then the devil gets his soul.
Yeah.
So then he second guessed himself, but then like in a real not I was gonna say dick move, but it's not because she's such a fucking bitch. Like makes her throw away all of the souls he had brought her,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it
you
was
can
deadly.
see it's absolutely destroying her to do it.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that she didn't put up a massive fight. It wasn't this big bad struggle at the end, because I think Madame Langell's kind of.
Well, she would have been too old to fight anyway.
So that's what I
yeah.
mean. Like
You say
the
that, but
reason,
remember
the
the
reason,
tulip fight.
but the reason
That's when
Jesse
she had a soul.
and stuff
with her.
fears her is because of the power that she wields over them.
True.
When she doesn't wield that power anymore, she's a frail old woman.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like we stripped the wig off her and stuff like that.
Exactly,
And it just
yeah.
it broke her down.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I thought that was good. I have issues with the contract, but that's me being nitpicky.
No, I really hated the Satan thing. I thought it was like a little cop.
It's like, why can she make a deal for his soul? It's not hers.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's not hers to give. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get you.
Yeah,
No, I
exactly.
do. I
So
have
that was kind of
I
my
was thinking
one.
that.
The only thing I could think of was that because she had that rag that was
Yeah.
bound to him, that maybe she had permission to do it. But then surely as soon as that thing is broken, the contract is void.
Yeah, because she technically owned his soul. At
But
that
we don't
stage
know.
of
We don't
doing
know
the
if that's
contract.
what that means.
I'm sure.
Maybe there'll be a flashback in season 4,
Maybe,
if one
but-
happens, to explain that a little bit.
It was
The
the
only
one,
only problem with my
No,
only
okay.
problem with the Madame Legend thing is the way he decided to kill her in the end. I would have preferred if he beat her
left
to
her
death.
be without souls and let her rot in the house
Oh
on
no! So
her own.
you're saying you would rather he took like physical
Yeah, I would have rather her to see her beaten to death because she would have deserved it.
rather
that
than
would've-
I thought he would have.
Sorry,
dark.
but I would have found it more satisfying. Like I wish she would have been
I'd
beaten to
rather
fucking
she was
death.
beaten to
Yeah,
death.
Yeah.
because it would
Yeah,
have
I was
been.
beating old lady to
It
death.
would have
No, she
made
would
more
deserve it.
sense then for if he came back in with baseball bat,
Yeah,
because then that would have came full circle.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's true
You
as
know
well.
what I mean?
yeah.
So if he had went up to the room, the baseball bat was still in the bedroom.
Yeah,
Picked her up, walked back down.
I
and
could see. Yeah, I could see
clock
that.
in the face.
But I
Yeah.
think it's also like
Broken
it's-
all 4 limbs and then just beat her to death. Would have been amazing.
No, just let her lie
No,
there.
I do like
But I
the
think
idea
it's-
of the baseball bat. It's like a
Yeah.
full circle coming back. That would have been.
But
Yeah,
it's
because
proper
it kinda makes no
comeuppance.
sense now.
It is proper comeuppance as well because she strapped his mother into that same machine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's
Ripped
like
her
you're
fucking
going.
heart
Yeah,
out,
you
yeah.
were going
Yeah.
to go into the same machine that you put my mother.
So yeah,
into.
it did come full circle, but in a
Yeah,
different
that's
way,
true.
I guess. But I would have just rather like severe violence against her as well.
No,
She-
I
'cause she would've
actually
deserved
thought
it.
when, look, I had to rewind it for that part where he was walking out of the room and she said there was a new deal, and then he turned around and goes, well, now I have a new deal,
Yeah.
and then made her destroy the souls. I was a bit like,
Mhm.
wait, hold on. What am I missing here? because it was just the way it was kind of worded back and
Yeah,
forth. That it was
yeah.
a bit like, but he would probably want her to have the souls so she could live longer, knowing the fact that she will eventually run out of them and die alone.
But I
regardless.
think with the amount of souls that they got her, it
yeah.
was
And then that's where
way
I think
too
where
many,
he
yeah.
kind of changed his mind and just went,
He nearly
okay.
left.
Mhm.
He
No,
nearly
that's the
left.
thing.
He
So
got
he
right back
tries
in.
changed his
out.
mind, got her to destroy them, and
Yeah.
then I thought he was going to let her rot in hell.
Yeah. Just let her rot in
Just rot
Angelville
in
in
the
the
room,
fiery
Yeah.
ruins.
Because she has
yeah.
nobody then.
But even like that would have been so unsatisfactory.
Yeah.
I would have hated that. And I think they did it kind of well because he pulls out of the driveway, and you're thinking this isn't, because it's like he didn't win, and then Jesse goes on screen. I think does he say something along the lines of "I didn't win" or "This doesn't feel like a victory"?
No.
And that's when he turns around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
In
He's
the
like, you know
car,
what?
so
I
if-
can't let her win again.
That was a
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
moment. I loved
Yeah.
it.
So it's just
I
like
loved
he's going to drive away, and then he's like, "No, I came here to do this. I'm doing this."
Like-
And then you see
Be
little
damned, the
Jesse sitting in the
consequences.
chair, the car beside him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a bit like, I have to do this
for
little Jesse.
Yeah.
and be damned the consequences, which
Like-
he is well aware of.
Yeah.
Like whatever about the deal that you guys have a bit of a hang up with
Uh-huh.
with Satan, it was pretty fucking metal for him to like. You know what? Don't care if I'm going to hell. She deserves to die, and I'm going to be
Mhm.
the one to do it.
100%.
That was that was so metal. It was deadly.
Goes back and she just kind of. That was class.
Yeah.
And then he does finally leave. Gets in the car with Tulip,
Yeah.
drives
Yeah.
off, and that.
So he drives back in the Jeep and then walks all the way out. I was a bit like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but
yeah, but
he
after
didn't.
doing that, you're kind of like, you know
Yeah.
what? I need.
I'm
You're
gonna
on
walk and have a
adrenaline high.
cigarette.
I'm gonna
You're
have
like,
a smoke. I'm gonna walk down this.
Yeah, but he needs the whole cool guys don't look at explosions bit,
Mhm.
doesn't he?
guys don't look at
Yeah.
explosions.
Cool guys don't look at rotting old women's bodies.
Well, you know what I mean. The
After what
metaphor's there.
she's done, you'd wait until like
Yeah.
every bit of her rotted into nothing.
Just
was beaten off.
Fuck that. While beating off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh Jesus
Just-
Christ, man.
Shoot a low right in the ashes. Be amazing. Anyway,
which part of the episode we want to hit up next?
Well, if
We
he's
have the
bumped
bus
into
or
Tulip,
Children of Blood.
Oh no, we'll hit up
if he's
Tulip.
bumped into Tulip,
Yeah.
So that's the bus.
Yep.
Yeah. So we need to explain how Tulip got to that
Tulip
point.
got there, yeah.
Where does that continue on
Um,
from? Oh yeah, the Angel of Death and saying the killers get off the bus and take
Mhm.
on the Nazis.
Yeah.
Oh my
Did
God.
you notice one of the Nazis was wearing a "Make America Great Again" cap?
yes,
No,
of
he
course,
wasn't.
Yes, he was. How did you not notice that?
I did not
Yeah.
notice that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that. That's fucking
You
fantastic.
couldn't see the full text, you could just see the side of it, but it was just like, that's perfectly
That's
thrown
not the
in
first
there.
time
Yeah.
they've taken a jab at Trump in this show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't there something before we were talking about?
Well, even in this episode, Cassidy's wearing like a T-shirt that references Nixon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who was,
Oh, yeah.
removed
did you
from
watch the
office.
episode?
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
very
but I didn't
obvious.
notice that reference.
think that's
Joe
their
like, doesn't get
subliminal of,
subtle
like, just get
American
'em out.
political
No, like
political
the
references.
amount of notes I got here.
Um,
Oh. So yeah, they have the whole fight with the Nazis anyway, which
that whole bit at the start where
annoyed the shit
that
out of me
Why?
fucking-
because it was just all off screen in smoke, and
Yeah.
it really
I know,
pissed
yeah,
me
I know
off.
what you mean.
It's really low fucking quality filmmaking.
Keeping the
or
budget
thing when
down.
you
like realistically, that's why.
I liked it. No, I liked that.
No,
man.
I thought it looked really cheap because when
Parts
they
of it
start
did,
firing
yeah.
back at the Nazi soldiers, it was like they were like cardboard cutouts that just fell down, like at
Mhm.
a target range.
Yeah.
They just fell down, and it's a bit like, oh, that was a bit cheap looking.
Even
Yeah.
before they get to the fight, though, where the guy reads out his fucking list of demands,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, "You're Nazis." He's like, "Yes." I was like, "Why are you wearing a Luftwaffe?"
I saw that was dead. It
we're,
was like,
we're a mixed division.
you could see him hesitate for a second, like we're
Because obviously, with her being the Angel of Death, she has seen the real Nazis.
One of them's in the van.
Yeah. The main one, if you will.
But
Was he?
Mhm.
I thought that was fucking brilliant. And then
Yeah.
while that whole thing is happening, Nazis jump onto the bus and Tulip's
Yeah.
fighting the Nazis. Fucking window wiper.
Yeah.
Like, that's just fucking
Well, then
fantastic.
even like, where the fuck did Eugene get these karate moves out of?
I didn't think he was that
Uh,
impressive. Like I think he
yeah.
was just kind of bashing.
and
aimlessly,
Hitler
like.
was never known for his stature.
Yeah.
no.
Like
That was a
Eugene's
cool fight.
Eugene's a pretty big guy, like, you know what I mean? He has a bit of a build to him.
Mhm.
Like, Hitler was quite small and frail looking. He could have just sat on him.
I just love our
He's not the Allfather, for fuck's sake.
You're not
Huh?
going anywhere.
He's not the Allfather, for fuck's sake. He's not going to sit on him.
Well,
Yeah.
he looks like he's getting there. It's from season 1 to now. It looks like he's getting there.
Well, He's stressed. He's eating for stress. That's what it is. You'd be stocky too if you're like sent to hell for no fucking reason.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Oh well, I think he was hitting the gym down there at one stage, wasn't
He looks very like. Do you ever
That's
see
what I'm
his
saying, he
arms?
looks a bit
Do you ever see his
buff, like,
arms?
yeah.
Like, he's real buff.
It looks like he's beginning to play American football.
But then during that fight, like, the Angel of Death still taking jabs at the Saint of Killers.
Yep.
Do you
Yeah,
think your
so
daughter
that-
was alive or dead when the crow started picking her eyes out?
I
What
was
the
a bit
fuck,
like,
bitch?
whoa.
Why? Don't poke the bear.
What the
Yeah.
fuck is wrong with you?
She's evil.
The fear in her eyes when, like,
But I'd
Before
say-
they were removed.
before
I'd say-
they were removed.
I'd say she
was
knows the answer.
Oh,
She's
absolutely.
Just
yeah.
like, as I said earlier,
But I think
pecking at him.
it comes back
Yeah.
from like a few episodes in when the Saint of Killers was first reintroduced into the season. Like, she's whipping the fucking shit out of his back. I think from that
Now
point,
I remember what she said on the bus. Make remember you were trying to think.
Mhm.
She goes, "How's your back?"
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Ah.
it.
So from that point forward, I think she thinks of him as like some little errand whipping boy,
Yeah.
I'm nowhere.
forgive the pun, who's been sent off by the devil to do some fucking
Errands.
baby chore. Yeah.
Yeah, just to go get a shopping list. Like,
hmm But then, like, she just keeps poking him,
Packet of
poking him.
Pringles,
And it's like,
please.
yeah, I don't fear you anymore. I don't fear you anymore. Who cares? What are you? And then, like, he gets run over by a fucking tank.
Yeah.
Oh
And he
my
looks like he
God.
was split in half.
Yep.
it was just his
looked like
body
it.
was like underlaid
Yeah.
into the gravel.
But how do you get out of a tank like that? Oh, you look up and see the fuel tank and decide, I'm going to stab that. It's like, only
Well,
the Saint
he
Killers,
knows
who's a
he
complete
can't die.
badass, can get away with that.
Yeah.
And as soon as the explosion's
All right,
over,
Mick?
he walks out of it.
Yeah, I'm good.
Like,
Yeah, I was a bit
literally-
like, this could be touch and go.
No, I'm okay. I was trying not to belch loudly, but I'm
Oh,
glad.
okay.
I'm glad you brought attention to
Yeah,
it.
no problem.
Mick, what were you
Mm.
doing?
Okay.
Belching loudly.
Moving on.
Anyway, the last part of that is obviously the bit you kind of touched on, where he gets up and fucking rips this,
Fucking eyes out.
the Angel of Death's
socket.
eyes out of her
Jesus.
sockets.
Yeah.
Did you see the fear, though? I was saying it there a few minutes ago. The fear as he walked towards her and didn't say anything. He was like, you know, I was only kidding about
Yeah.
your
And it
daughter.
plays that same like string music, like
Yeah, because she knows, okay, he
Fuck.
just got ran over by a tank, survived an explosion. This guy's pretty badass and he could kill me.
and he's
Yeah.
pissed.
Yeah, real pissed. He's given up all
And
things.
he
like,
loves
fuck
his
this
daughter.
Shit. Yeah, because it keeps flashing back to his little shack in the desert.
Yeah.
And just that, like, seriously,
like
The
a
crow
great
is
little
pecking
house.
out the fucking
Was
the
what?
doll's
Looked like
house.
a great little house. Nice and peaceful.
Little house on the
His own
prairie.
little ranch.
Yeah.
Shame about the disease.
That's
the
Red
Wal-
Dead
the
Redemption.
Waltons' first house.
No, it's from Red Dead Redemption. That's what it is.
But yeah, well, so we're keeping up with Tulip, and then obviously, like, the
Everything.
tank shell starts,
Yep.
and then God appears.
Pause.
Yeah.
Wow. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I am a.
What?
Pause it. I am
I'm a loving
a.
God.
I'm a
or
loving
yeah.
God. That's it. Takes the curse away. Well,
Says he takes the curse
that's
away.
what I'm
anyway.
really like unsure about. He
I
says
think
it
that's
tell.
to put like positive thoughts in her head. It's that whole placebo effect. I've
Yeah.
taken the curse away. You're fine.
He's
From
got
this
a
day on, O'Hare's shall be.
Yeah.
I can't remember the
Blessed
words.
or something
blessed
like that.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, blessed life. But of
He's
course,
got a different chick on the motorbike.
yes, I know. That this is a black chick with him now, and she's real sassy looking.
Yeah.
Looks like from the 70s. Like, I swear to God, he must have went back in time, took her from like the 70s. Cause she
Well,
just
he could have
looked
got her
ridiculous.
from. Well, it looked like they were in Mardi Gras.
Possibly,
could've just-
yeah.
Are you saying
Picked her
everybody
up
in
from
Mardi
there.
Gras looks like they're living in the 70s
Well,
disco era?
you never know.
A little bit.
So
Yeah.
that was it with tell Jesse Custer to stop looking for me.
Yeah.
Which isn't it's pretty much the storyline of Preacher from the beginning, isn't it? Really?
And then gets her to go because tells her Cassidy is in mortal danger.
That was very funny. He's like, fine, don't believe me. Yeah, I loved
Yeah,
all
they
that shit.
stand looking at the sun.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I loved the way that was done. It looked like he took her somewhere completely different to a nice, calm location, and then it zooms back, and it's the same
Yeah.
death scene.
But it is. It's just. It's kind of. He just seems like such a fucking. Like prankster's probably the wrong word, but he's
A
like
joker.
Yeah, so it's just
Yeah.
like I bless you, and you're gonna have to go. Tell Jesse to stop looking for me, and Cassidy's in danger. It's like I don't believe you. It's like all right, fine,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just
Whatever.
stare,
Don't.
and then just looks out and goes, okay.
Cool. Bullshit. I love that. That was such a weird little thing to do. Because then when everything, of course, unpauses, you have Tulip run off. We see Saint of Killers take Eugene and
Satan and
Same thing all the way down. So they finally brings them to hell.
Do we want to touch on that last scene?
Well, actually, hold
before
on.
we do the Cassidy stuff, or do we want to go Cassidy then?
Hold on, talking about that sassy black lady. I
Technically,
loved when
Cassidy
she
is the
walked
last.
over beside God, and he just goes, "Yeah, I'll be there in a minute."
Yeah, what does she say to him again?
I think she just looks at him as in like, "Come on,
We also,
I want the ride."
I nearly forgot to mention it. I would have hated it. Hitler has a line during the fight with Eugene that fucking broke me.
What?
Because he's like, when he's trying to get off the bus and Eugene is stopping him, Hitler's going, "I'm a changed man. I have a soul patch now."
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jesus Christ.
It was one of 2 times that Hitler almost broke me in this episode.
The other for me was definitely, as I said, the last one. What would Jesus do? That's just,
Yeah.
just so fucking good.
So sorry,
Yeah.
Nick, you were saying to go on to which?
Do you want to,
Well, I
kind of
think
wrap up?
Cassidy's one.
Let's say
really
wrap up
ends
hell,
the
yeah.
season.
Well, we could wrap,
that
yeah,
wraps that up.
yeah, we'll wrap up the hell stuff first. So obviously, we see the Saint of Killers. He has fulfilled his deal with the devil and brought, he brought Eugene and Hitler back to hell.
I was in the meeting. You know.
And then,
Whose idea was it to peck my
Yeah.
daughter's eyes out or something?
and Hitler, or then, so that's after he gives
Who's
Saint of
God?
Killers back his guns.
Yeah.
Bad.
Big mistake.
Bad idea.
Well, see, when he pointed them at him first, he was a bit like,
How dare you.
you point them at the Prince of Darkness?"
Yeah.
But even Satan knows I can die. Like Satan,
Yeah.
like he knows it. Like it's like, oh shit! I just gave him back weapons that definitely can kill me.
Yeah.
And then he starts, like, he just wants, it seems like he wants to give him something to, like, just get him away. It's like, I was maybe in the meeting, like, God was there, was God's fault. And then he just shoots Satan in the head.
Yep.
And I was like, what?
That happens
Yep.
in the comics. Well,
That
he kills him
happens
in the comics.
That's
Yeah,
how he
but
is.
you were
Yeah.
saying it gets a roundabout or a different way than
Yeah,
the,
exactly.
the show.
Different. He asked him to be his angel of death in the
Mhm.
comics.
Yeah.
He refuses, but he had fulfilled something. Weapons are given.
Mhm.
I made you these weapons. Be my angel of death. He says no and just blows his fucking brains out.
Yeah.
Like so this was a little different, but
Mhm.
still along the lines of the comic.
Didn't the devil turn around to the angel of death as well and say something about her eyes to her?
She probably deserved that.
She
Is
bumped
it?
into him.
Yeah, that's
And
what it was. Yeah.
it was like, I'm going to assume something happened on the way
Yeah.
back. But then this part of the episode, like,
I wasn't.
I
expecting the
really
next bit
liked.
at all.
I really liked the like. We'll come to the hair star stuff afterwards, but I had assumed, all right, they're back in hell. Hitler's time on the show is done. As he gradually
So
slides his way
good.
towards the chair, I broke. I literally cried laughing for 10
I
minutes
was like, this
just because
is
I knew where they
brilliant.
were going. It was just like, oh, whoa. And then just laughed. And then when the angel of death with no eyes comes
I
up
know.
and offers him a fucking cake,
Yeah.
The
and
plum
he's like,
pie.
Yeah.
and he's like, yes. And she goes off.
Make sure it's extra crummy.
Oh, man,
Like, it was
that
worth
such a good moment.
Even if Hitler's been great, but even if Hitler was shit up to now, it was
Mhm.
worth having him just for that moment.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just for that
100%.
alone,
But
it's worth
I
it.
think that
Now
moment-
reigns hell.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
moment wouldn't have been as good if Hitler hadn't have been as funny as he was
Yeah.
throughout the 2
Yeah,
seasons
yeah.
he's been
Yeah.
in now. But he's now had a standout moment in both finales. Like that bit at the end of season 2
When he gets
where he
knocked
gets
over.
off the bus and just pegs it.
Yeah.
forgot about.
Well, he gets hit by a car.
Yeah,
and
and
then
it
gets up
keeps
runs.
going.
Does that again? That Laura Dern struggles.
Yeah.
But then
Well, I was
David-
thinking about it. Sorry, Mick. I was thinking about it. None of that story would have happened without Hitler.
Mhm.
From start, from when he meets him in prison, because he gets Eugene out,
Yeah.
he runs off, he meets people which stop the bus,
Mhm.
which antagonizes the Angel of Death to start slagging fucking
Saint of
Mr.
Killers.
Cowboy.
Butterfly effect.
Yeah, and it literally
Butterfly
runs
flaps
on
his
for
wings,
him
there's
to
a
get
tornado
pissed
in-
off
Angelville.
to kill the devil
Mhm.
Yeah.
for Hitler to have to see.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
literally
I think it's
from the start of
full
Hitler, they
circle
played
for
that
Hitler.
so well.
Yeah.
But as
So
well, they
Hitler
have
is
a
in
little bit of
charge.
foreshadowing because he looks at the contract with Jesse's name on it and goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah,
contract to be null and void, though, right?
We
'Cause
don't-
It's Satan's signature.
Doesn't
so
matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
That's the other question. But anyway,
That is a good. That's
I want
one
to
of my
imagine
questions
next
for
season they're going to have Hitler,
Yeah.
but he's going to have horns.
Oh, imagine because he takes up the mantle.
Yeah, he
of
starts
it.
to grow
It'd be
into
like
the
the
devil.
Santa
Like Tim
Claus
Allen and the
movie.
Santa Claus, yeah.
Like a,
Instant hair.
like a-
Instant red face and
And
big
then-
red chest.
well, there's with his little, as he mentioned,
Soul
he has a
patch,
little soul
yeah.
patch. So that's a devil's. That's kind of a devil's signature soul
Yeah.
patch. Well, I
Yeah.
hope he meets your one with the deep voice that like runs the prison cell.
Yeah.
Oh,
And she's
yeah.
like, "How the fuck did you get here?"
Ah.
I really
Oh,
hope
yeah.
they meet.
There
again.
should be a funny little
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah,
between that.
I
Or
hope
where
so.
he meets the assholes in the little
In the
lunch
prison.
break room. That
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that would be
Mhm.
hilarious.
Yeah.
But then we
Um,
also have the Saint leave hell again
Yes.
to go
Yeah.
after Preacher and take Eugene with him.
Oh yeah, angry Eugene.
Also
Yeah,
straight from the
Eugene
comic,
seems
yeah.
pissed now.
You going after that preacher?
Yeah, which he does in the comic as well.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
says, it wasn't super clear, but he says something like, the preacher that put me here, and then seems
He's
to just
still
be...
alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he expected them all to be dead, because he obviously saw the...
That's right,
Oh,
yeah. Angel,
Anvil-
not
Anvil.
Anvil being, yeah.
And
And
Like,
that's, I think
completely
that's why he was
blown
so
up.
shocked with Saint Tulip.
Yeah.
Because he was like, you made it out.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, so it's like, Eugene seems pissed. But it also kind of makes the Saint of Killer seem a little more sympathetic.
Yeah.
Because you could kind of tell when the Angel of Death was talking to him and told him that Tulip and Eugene weren't meant to be in hell, he was like, that's against the rules.
Yeah,
You can't
he's
do
very
that.
for the rules.
Mhm.
Like you can see that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of cool to see a different side of him, because before this it was very all walking, all shooting, badass monster killer, or badass killer guy. And I don't mind him. Like, I want to see Eugene evolve, because
I really hope
3
he turns
seasons
out.
now he's been a doofy doofus.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't in a huge amount of this season. Like, thinking about the overall arc, he was in a tiny bit of, I think, was it episode 6 was the first one that
Yeah, 'cause we were
he
waiting
was
for a
back. Yeah, we were
while.
waiting
think
for
so,
ages.
yeah, I think
And
so.
it was just
quite
a
long
little bit
time.
where he gets captured by the Saint. And then the next episode, he's only in the bit where they're capturing Hitler.
Yeah.
So he was in very little of this
Yeah.
season. But I'm hoping now that if he's going on this revenge against
He'll be
Preacher
in
as
it a lot
well,
more.
he'll be in it more.
I really hope he's like the Robin to Batman. Just a whole like, shut up, Eugene.
Shut up, Eugene.
That would be kind of funny though.
Yes.
Like, so our last part is the Children of Blood, which ends with the
Mhm.
whole hair-star
Oh,
stuff. So they're
straight
kind
up
of
to
linked
the-
both
yeah,
up
Yeah,
to
the
it.
end of the
that's
So
good.
the ending of the Children of Blood stuff goes into our hair-star stuff. So
Mhm.
we could do it that way.
Which was fucking awesome.
That pretty much starts off with a Carrie's walking into the kitchen, everybody looking really ridiculously guilty and troubled. That's the impression I got. It's like, this is really weird.
It was like a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah. They're
That's
like,
the way, yeah.
we're mourning for our friend Cassidy.
And
which
then he says,
I'll offer you one last chance
Mm-hmm. And he goes down, and Cassidy says, okay, yeah, fine.
to take the unicorn pipe.
Yes.
Look at those, fantastic. It's, you put the drugs in here. And
I know how
it's
to
like,
fucking use a pipe.
like, oh, I suppose you do. And of course, the sun isn't even closer to it. Did anyone notice that?
It's the same
still
area.
like 2 feet away. It's like, for fuck's sake, how long am I going to take?
It's like the very slow Bond laser.
Yeah.
Days and days of the Bond team. Actually, that'd be torture, wouldn't it?
Oh my god.
But
That'd
yeah,
be
so
like
the-
that
Great
scene in
song,
The
but
Walking Dead,
Jesus.
playing it to Daryl over and over again. Just a Bond team tune.
What's that? Easy Street.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah, that's
No,
a
I don't
torture
want that
song
in
and a
my
half.
Mm.
That's turned into a huge meme, and I love
Mhm.
that. So in the end, it seems like Cassidy repents.
Well,
Yeah.
repents to Icarius.
I assumed he was going to just, he's by the way repenting and just like escaping the first chance he got. I figured that was
That was his
the end
plan.
of the
Yeah.
round. Yeah.
I didn't figure how it would happen,
Yeah.
but I figured they had something. Like, I knew it wasn't sincere what he was saying.
No.
But when they when Mrs.
Who would like to fly?
Was it Mrs.
Rosen?
Rosen? Yeah,
Yeah.
when she says, "I want to be turned," and then
I
he's
thought that
like,
was cool.
"Have you ever menage a trois?"
Yeah.
And then he goes to bite her, but sees there's already bite marks in her neck. He's like, "What's going?" And then just that reveal that, oh yeah, no, she's turned, and then everyone else is turned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, did you?
Because
No, I
Cassidy-
turned her. She turned the rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus. I wasn't expecting everyone. Like, I was definitely expecting when I saw the. I keep putting her as grandma on my thing because I could not remember her name.
Grandma 2.0.
Yeah, so it's just like, that'll do. I can't remember her name.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting maybe her or whoever was going to be on the table.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting every single fucking person in the room.
Because it's like, you've done this shit in my basement for so long, and you've been killing all them bitches.
Yeah.
But just the reveal of that, I was like, how many numbers did you ring, Mrs. Rosen? 87. How many did you get answers from? 0.
Yeah.
And just that reveal, and
I was
then
like, oh no.
Oh, you lying sack of shit.
Yeah.
and how they all just kind of grab him and
Fuck, that looked vicious.
pin him to the
Feeding on him.
table. And
Yeah.
they have that classic, what I consider a classic kind of Dracula thing, where when he's
Yeah.
in absolute pain or danger, the constant transformations
Oh,
to
that
the
was
different
awesome.
thing.
So
A bat, a dog. It was like
Yeah.
a guinea. At one stage, I looked up the transformation. One of them was a guinea pig.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was like, that would have been fucking hilarious seeing him turn into a guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
Like, so good.
But like, what I thought was really weird is when they moved as fast as he could, but yet they've never fed.
I think it was
Yeah.
more just that there was a lot of them.
Yeah.
So he can move
yeah.
fast, but he can't, like... Well, I don't know what the lore here is, but he can't just kind of disappear and reappear somewhere
Yeah,
else. He's
yeah.
just quick.
It's
But if he's surrounded, like...
Yeah.
And if you're
Can't get
panicking
away.
yourself
It's
and
the
there's
law
like
of
20 people
Exactly,
around you.
yeah.
It's the law of zombie. Do you ever see it's like 1 or 2 you can take on no problem?
Mm-hmm.
But like, do you ever see
Classic
someone getting
zombies.
attacked by
Yeah.
a horde? You're like, oh guys, come on, they're so slow moving. Yeah, but there's like 100 of them
Yeah.
That's all,
surrounding
yeah.
slowly.
In the
There's a
in the
difference.
classic zombies, that's all. Like the danger with zombies has always been that there's 100,000 of them.
Yeah.
Like one zombie is fine; you can deal with that yourself.
I can take that
2
on.
maybe, but when it starts to get groups, it's
Yeah.
the risk of a bite or scratch from
Yeah.
a direction
True.
you don't
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just the end of that as well, where kind of Cassidy is kind of letting them get their revenge, and Icarius is just looking up dead-eyed from the pool table as he's
Yeah.
being devoured.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh,
And then it just flashes
Revenge
into
is
the pool table with a burn mark.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was
the
like,
ashes.
The light finally met the table. Did you notice how far forward the table was moved? I was like, so Cassidy complete. Like, obviously this was off screen. Like
They had to
type
wait
thing,
for the
but-
summer solstice to kick in, for the sun to change its angle.
and straight after that, the excitement and all that. It's like, hey, celebrating. Fucking Hoover comes down.
Well,
It's
you-
like, I'm
Hoover's
back,
back.
bitches.
Before that, Cassie gets a phone call from Tulip.
Tulip calls.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then it
true.
has, outside of the TC stuff,
Mm.
the other kind of real emotional high point of this
Oh,
was
that was so nice.
where he was crying on. Because if you think, like, 2 episodes back, he basically told her to fuck off. And that,
fucked.
I don't, I've had friends like you before, and I'll have friends like you after. I don't
Yeah.
need you. But now it's like he's crying there, thanks for calling and thinking
Yeah,
of me.
yeah.
And he's just,
And because he knows they're coming for him
Mhm.
as well. He's like, oh.
After exactly what he's been
Yeah.
through anyway,
Yeah.
being nailed to a table, thinking he was dying, ready to die.
Preacher friends.
Yeah.
A call from the woman he loves is going to,
mhm.
you know.
Yeah. It's going to give you a boner.
You're all about the boners tonight, aren't
I'm
you?
all about
You've
them
been hard
dicks,
since
bet
you
them
walked in
dicks.
here. Fucking
And then,
hell.
yeah, as you say, Hoover returns.
That was so
Party
good.
Hoover.
Party Hoover's like, woo, let's party.
Yeah.
Everyone's a vampire now.
Well, what did they say? Take drugs and listen to some Nickelback?
Yeah, let's come over here.
Oh,
Let's take some
yeah.
drugs and lick in the Nickelback. I was like, yes. I wonder if that's going to be made into a joke.
It
Definitely
probably
probably
will.
is.
It
And
probably
then-
already is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Fucking
of
love
course,
Nickelback.
Hoover doesn't obey the rule of not being a dick.
Yeah,
No.
that's true. He
Mm.
immediately
And-
takes out a lovely umbrella.
He
Actually,
comes
no,
back to
he
bite him
gives
mere
a
minutes
gift.
later.
Why do you think he gives a gift to Cassidy straight away? Like
Because
that?
they need Cassidy alive.
Well, that's. I was going to get to that point. Yeah, that was where I was
Joe
going.
was masking
I
it.
was
It was a
masking
rhetorical
Yeah,
question.
of course. Yeah, so he gives him the umbrella.
It's like,
It's
and
like
then he's like,
here.
Why did he give him the gift, Joe?
Well, because Hoover becomes to betray them all,
Mm.
and immediately, and I still don't have a clue how they. Or I do have a
they
clue.
ripped
how
the
to do it.
entire top
They
of the
ripped
house
the whole
off?
top of the house off.
That
and
was a very stable
Then it goes
house.
to a scene of a helicopter carrying a house over like San Francisco or
It was
not
very
San-
weird.
New Orleans, and then just
Just
drops
dropping
the
it.
house into the river.
And who was standing there? But
2
what
humperdoos.
Aiden wanted for next season, a random shot of a
That
humperdew.
was me.
Oh
was
yeah.
Mick.
Oh,
it
sorry,
was.
Mick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's alright, we're very similar.
Let's
people.
rewind here. What Mick wanted for
Diddle-doo, 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 diddle-doo.
Let's do the Scooby Doo ending.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the Grail is there. Here's there and
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Featherston.
Featherston
was there.
Featherston and Hooper.
And Hooper.
Hair doing
We have to get it in. It's the last
Yeah.
preacher
Hudson
of this
is what he
year.
was calling him, by the way.
Hudson,
Yeah.
sorry, yeah.
Hudson, Jesus
Hudson,
Christ.
Hooper,
bleeding with a memory
Hooper,
on
it's all
names for
good.
them.
Yeah, so that was weird. Everyone's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like, terrifying. Like,
Mhm.
you know when Cassidy stands up for the moment? I was like, there's one thing in this whole season I've been really fucking pissed about.
When the
and
sun
that
hits
is
his hands.
the umbrella does not hide the hands.
Hey,
Like,
if you
so
want
fucking
to get
stupid.
real pedantic about that, fucking Hoover's wearing a fucking golf rainbow
Yeah,
umbrella on his
tiny little
head
one.
in the next
Tiny.
season or in the next scene, and it's like clearly only covering his face.
Yeah.
Only covering his face. So that means in this, the vampires only burn if their face is hitting
Or
it.
if they're fully.
Which
I mean-
totally disproves in the first season when Cassidy puts his hand out to the sun like
Yeah.
this.
Darius does that as well in
Yeah.
like this episode.
Oh, when he jumps, when they have the lights surrounding
Mhm.
them, it's his hand that hits it.
Oh, so annoying.
Anyway,
But
that's
yeah,
being
that
nitpicky.
scene. We
Yeah.
have Cassidy in a giant well
Mhm.
of trouble.
Oh well,
What is it?
that's to the end. We
Well,
I
that's
think
the
we
next
should
scene.
get to when
Just shows him.
when they get to the house.
Who gets to the house?
Oh,
When
Tulip
Jesse
arrives.
and Tulip
Tulip
get
does
to
Just
the
arrive.
Tulip, yeah.
Oh, just Tulip.
Tulip arrives.
And two people have survived, Mrs. Rosen and her son.
Oh, yeah.
They're just in
the
the
coffins.
It's like,
Forgot about
the Grail
that.
took him. So,
The
Ugh.
guys in the white suits.
So
Yeah.
puts
And
them on a
she
crash
knew.
course.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we know kind of where the Jesse and Tulip are going.
And then that
Yeah.
leads to her going to the farm to pick
Mhm.
up Jesse.
Oh, full circle.
Yeah.
We got there. We got there. It was a long, arduous
Which
journey,
then
but,
leads to the
yeah,
massive
so
headquarters for the Grail.
last scene was
so good to see
confusing
that.
for me in...
Not for me. It was
Oh,
arousing.
not for me.
God,
It
it
was
was
very,
very,
very
satisfying.
Though
And-
I had to be told and explained by these two the other day.
So did
that,
I. Like, we sort of worked it out. Like, Ken's like, do you know who that
when
was?
he
It was the
mentioned
angel.
I was a
God.
bit like, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's who that is. So, like, so there's two future characters that have been mentioned in that final scene. The one I copped straight away because Hairstyle said, "I've called Frank." He's like,
Yeah.
I literally was like, I gasped. I was
that's
like, oh
gonna
my
be
god.
savage.
So
All right,
Frankie,
I'm just sitting here kind of like...
And I think that's
Yeah.
the way we should let it.
yeah,
The
let's
name's
just
been
let that
said, no
let that
explanation
hang.
of that character.
Mhm.
Let's see him next season.
Frank is a future character, and I'm very excited about it. That's all I'll say. And
I hope
that-
they get a good actor though.
So do I. But and the angel that flies down to Cassidy, we now know after talking amongst ourselves, we know who that is as well.
Yep.
And
But it
again,
wasn't flying.
Very
So that's what I was
Was
going
it
to
not?
say.
It
Because
wasn't flying. If you look back in it, it was
He was flying.
chained.
Oh, was
It
he?
It was a
chained.
chain on either
Which
side.
makes
it was,
sense.
It was
Which-
hanging.
So I
Yeah.
was confused.
Makes sense.
Chained angel.
I think what
Yep.
confused me was I saw an angel, and then fucking...
you could hear the chains.
What does Cassidy say? It's
Hair's-
like, Jesus.
But
Christ.
Hair Star said he had his top interrogator flying in. I was like, does he have an angel interrogator?
That's
no,
How
right.
does this
that's
work?
Frankie.
That's
That's
what
Frankie.
I first thought.
That's
as
my
well,
man
but,
Frankie.
So I
That's
didn't-
Fra-
I
where's,
didn't hear
where's
the
he
name.
from? Where was he from again?
I didn't
I
hear the
can't
name
remember.
Frankie. So
What's that
Oh, he said
place
Frankie.
just outside New York that all the gangsters
the
always come
Bronx,
from? No,
That's in New York.
Brooklyn,
That's
But
in
yeah,
New York.
I
New
think it was-
Jersey.
It could have been. I think it was New Jersey.
Person from Brooklyn will rob you with anything.
Yeah, they rob you with a toothbrush.
But according to the comics, I cannot wait for that
Yeah,
character.
two great
Yeah.
characters have been.
Two
So
excellent
what the
characters.
place was called, was it Masada?
Masada.
I think so. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of in the desert somewhere. I can't
So
remember.
it seems like coming from the end of that, Hairstar has given up on Jesse being the. Oh, sorry. We'll get on the other thing first. He kills Hoover. Fucking just
Oh
goes,
my god!
I thought
Hoover's
you
like,
were
hilarious.
joking.
Sir, I know I'm a vampire now, but I'm gonna make this isn't gonna affect my Grail work. He's like, what? Oh, I thought you were messing. And he just tosses the hat off and he burns up.
There is a line just before that I do love, and it's like, Hoover, are you mocking me with the hat?
Yeah.
And it's like, sorry, sir. I was like,
no,
no,
I
I'm a
need this
vampire.
hat.
What? Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Like,
We-
I love
we-
that
we
Hairstyle
need-
misses
We need
that.
a new
Fuck, we totally forgot.
Hoover.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not gonna take credit for this idea because cloning is in it.
Yeah.
I want to imagine that next
It'll
season
be an actual.
it'll
Hoover
just
again.
be Hoover again,
a
but
normal
a different
Hoover.
Hoover.
I know we
Just
mentioned
That'd be a cheap cop out, but
the hats, but
could have also been they needed a new Hoover.
Actually,
Hoover 'em
yeah.
up?
and I hate
Oh,
to go back
stop
to
it.
We
our
forgot
episode 9. We missed something in our first part.
What?
Yeah, so they
The wigs.
done the wigs.
Oh, God,
straight
yeah.
from the comics.
Straight. They even had them lined
Splitting
up,
up
as
all
if
the
it was a
different
comic.
wigs. We
Yeah.
totally
The
forgot about it.
wigs.
That was
So there was the
fucking amazing.
Elvis.
The Elvis one. There was mutton chops. There was like a Kurt Cobain style.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It was
and then he was like,
Mohawk?
no, the wig
One?
is backwards.
Yeah, and he
Oh,
turns around and
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
and
actually,
change it.
no, it was the right way
No, it
around.
was the right
That's
way around.
bad angle over here.
Yeah. All right.
But
one
anyway,
thing.
back
All right. So he
to-
kills Hoover, and
Yeah.
then
and then says he's sick of fucking chess. Or
we
he's sick
need
of
to
chess.
get a new.
It's time to play some
Hoover.
fucking checkers.
Yeah. And he decides to go for full vengeance on Jesse
Yeah.
rather than...
He's no longer the
thing.
Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
Yeah.
Mick,
Which
nicely
again,
done.
that's straight from the comic as well.
We get an
him-
outshot of the army.
Him trying to going for vengeance rather than trying to make him the Messiah. Just, you know what, fuck this guy, I'm going to kill him.
And it seemed like Featherstone gave up on the love for him as well. She was acting very serious, and she didn't throw like a little sly comment to him the way she has been throughout the season.
I don't think so. I think she still wants to fuck him.
Yeah,
I'd say so, but she seemed very serious at that moment instead of like...
Yeah, I
because
like...
she's always had a very soft
The
voice
one
towards him.
thing about Featherstone...
yes, fucked up.
The one thing I like about Featherstone is how kind of hook, line and sinker she is into the kind of Grail ethos.
Yeah.
Because as soon as she heard like they were going with this move, I was like, yes, an excellent tactical move in this chess match.
Yeah.
And that's when Hairstar comes out with the, I'm sick of chess. I want to play some fucking checkers.
It's cool, which kind of means that Hairstar is going to be really the big bad in the next season. Like, it's going to be full vengeance with Hairstar, which I think really makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong, this season with Hairstar, he's been more comedy than evil, like kind of thing.
I think,
and you know what? It worked so well with Jesse.
Whole
like,
fact that he was so afraid of the Allfather kind of played into that. But now with the Allfather out of the way and him being... the absolute head of the Grail with
no Messiah,
nothing hanging over him now.
Yeah.
So no Humperdew and now no Jesse. He's just like, fuck it, I'm doing things my way.
Like Frank Sinatra.
Am I right and wrong in saying that when we visit this place in the comics was the first time we met
Humperdew and Allfather.
And Allfather,
correct,
I remember that.
Yeah.
It was a little different.
Yeah.
That pan, I think it's the last thing we really see. Is that pan out of the Grail's forces?
Wonderful shot.
Huge.
Just
the places.
army, helicopters, fucking everything
Amazing.
going over there.
Yeah, the Grail have we've known they've had a lot of resources, but one thing I think we've never seen.
They never showed the expansion.
Yeah, we've always seen they're on site kind of like CIA agents almost running around the place, but we've never seen
their elite
their
hit
armed
squad
forces.
Teams, yeah.
Like there's you see the helicopters, you see the jets, you see things like. They're ready to fucking go. Like, they were ready for the end of the world. Like,
so you've seen their infiltration teams. You've not seen their army.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
And now I think next scene's going to be explosive.
Because I'm sure with that headquarters being in the middle of a desert or something, like if an apocalypse was to break out, that they're in the middle of nowhere, that they can rebuild and then invade the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And kill all the gays in Dublin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think
Have
that...
we come to the end?
Yeah, that pretty much covers it, I think.
Covers it off.
Season 3 done.
Like, we'll talk about pop music. Talk about pop music on another on the music cast next week. But for the time being, for this, we're going to talk about like our overall thoughts on the season as a whole and what we expect for next season, where we think it's going to go.
That'll be next week's episode.
That'll be next week's episode, and then followed by the question of the week, which will be on best and worst finales in TV.
We want to do the Hairstar.
Let's do the Hairstars. We're running very long as well. So
many stars on a Hairstar. That's where the little piano bit.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Just one key.
Yeah.
I can't remember. We started off with the bacon last time.
Yeah.
But we will go
with the turkey this time.
I don't think you ever gave me
you were the other bun.
Oh, okay.
Jesus, Mick.
Sorry.
Come on, let's do it.
Okay,
let's go.
Club stand.
I know we'll go fully into it next week and stuff, but this was a fucking great finale.
Yeah.
I loved the 3 sections of it. It was non-stop. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like the stuff from the comics. Fucking hell. Yeah. It really hit every spot. That was hard for most of this episode.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal Aiden's thing, but this is the first one of the season. I'm gonna give it a 5 Hairstars. It gets a full. It was a perfect episode to me.
Steal my boner.
I still don't think like 4 would have done justice. I think I'm going for the full 5 because nothing was wrong in this episode.
Yeah.
It hit every little G spot.
Yeah, it was excellent.
Yeah.
Will I go next?
Yeah.
I'll follow along the couch, so.
Yeah, for me, to be honest, I'd say like with the last episode, I had said in my head when I watched initially, I'd probably give it 3. Then after we retime, I said, you know what, no, it's 4. This one, I said 4. I'm going to stick with 4. I'd say on repeat viewings, I might go 5, but to me, it was a very solid finale. It was excellent. You know, hit all the points that it needed to hit. And we'll talk about this again next week. But like, there's again more fan service, and they're getting closer to the comics, which is no bad thing. I mean, like in certain ways they are, in certain ways they aren't. Like I think I meant to mention it a few minutes ago. I think Ikarius is actually better in the show than he is in the books, for sure. In a lot of ways, Jodie and TC are better in the TV show as well. Even though I love them in the comics too. So like they're doing certain shit differently, but they're like with the points of Arseface going for revenge, the Saint Killer shooting Satan, and Hairstara going for revenge now as well. They're hitting they're coming close to the comics, but that's no bad thing. They're doing it extremely well because they're going a bit of different ways and stuff like that. And it was an excellent. I couldn't really pick a flaw with it, but for me, I'd say it's solid 4-star, amazing finale.
Yeah.
Couldn't pick a flaw with it, 4 stars.
Is that your choice?
No. So for me, this is the most I've enjoyed an episode this season. Actually, it's probably the most I've enjoyed an episode of Preacher. I think.
Really?
I think that's probably
it's the most.
It's the most I've remembered, kind of laughing out loud, feeling sympathy when I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
And it's not left me. So problems I had in other things were like it left stories seemingly at a midpoint, whereas this has concluded a lot of stories, but then left hooks in for the next thing. I'm not left wanting, but I'm not left wanting conclusions to anything I've previously seen, but it has left me wanting to see where it goes because it's opened up all these threads.
Yeah.
So I think for me it was kind of the perfect, and we'll come next week to talk about, renewals and what's on the horizon for that kind of stuff. But for me it was kind of the perfect finale to the season, so I'm going to go with 5 stars. 5 hair stars.
Sweet.
Yeah.
When I was thinking about it, I was kind of in relation to the whole how I felt about when I was watching Lost.
Okay.
Every time a season finished, I was like, okay, a lot of stuff has been resolved, but where is this going?
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see what they're doing next season.
Yeah.
And it was the exact same way when I seen this. I'm like, right, okay, they cleared up a lot of stuff. Like they've made new paths and stories for everybody. Everything is kind of closed off and it's a new chapter because it's a new season, but they've still left you with that one single thread, as you said, sticking out, just being like, this is how we're continuing on, and now it's a whole new branch of stories. And I really like that, the way it's done. Like they killed off all the stories, they ended them perfectly, but they still have this one underlying story that they give you that cliffhanger for. And as you said, Aidan, like in relation to the comics, they're getting stuff like so spot on. Because a lot of movies and stuff and TV shows, it's so hard to get some stuff from paper to screen.
Yeah.
And I think they've done it so well. Obviously, they've changed around a few things just to make it fit, but they've still done a lot of it so well.
So for this episode?
So for this episode, I cannot pick a flaw with this single episode itself, so it has to be 5 stars.
Yeah. Woohoo! I feel guilty for only giving it 4. Like I said,
should.
when I
Are you going to take it back now?
No, I'm not going to take it back. When I
no
watch it,
backsies.
when I watch it again, because I know I've since a while, I really want to rip through the whole 3 seasons again, just binge on it, just see how it plays out.
I was going to mention
show.
next week. I think maybe between this end of this season and the start of next, I'm going to try and read through the comics.
Yeah. I have all 9 volumes, so you can
I might do
borrow away. Like I said, on a preview, it could be one of those things. Like the first time, my personal favorite film is Scott Pilgrim. I remember when I went to see it, like I was looking at the Empire review it afterwards, and they gave it 5 stars. I was like, 5 stars, really? It's like, yeah, it was a really good film. I'll give it 4. But then on repeat, I was like, this film is pretty much perfect. It's definitely a 5-star film for me. Could be the same thing with this episode. Yeah, it was really, really fucking good. But I might, on repeat viewings, I might even enjoy it more, I'd say. So I'm looking forward to doing that and binging the whole thing. I don't know about you guys. I'm really looking forward to next season, and even to just to next week, just to gush over this season and talk about, without giving spoilers away and stuff for Mick especially, what we're expecting from next season, what we think they're going to do and what they're going to bring to the table, and even just the fact of, will it get renewed? I'd say it will. I'd be very shocked if it's not renewed, because
after that season, I'll be very shocked.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, I'm going to cry until I die.
I will be very upset. If we go back over,
we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. Yeah,
the ratings, by the way, have ramped up
since episode 6.
Viewing wise, so like episode 6, 0.78 million, episode
88.
0.88, 8 94, then 9.98, and the finale was 1.02 million, which is the highest of the season.
Cool.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
yeah, so I would be hopeful that they'll do the right thing and they'll renew and they'll keep it going.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are we done for the week?
I think
Yeah,
we
I think
are.
so.
There's nothing really else to say other than to if you want to listen to any of our back episodes, you can listen to it on preachinonpreacher.com, on iTunes, on Spotify. You can get the RSS feed from Preachin and Preacher and put it into your podcasting app of your choice. You can catch us on Mixcloud. You can catch us on YouTube. If you want to contact us, you can contact us via Twitter at PreachinPod. You can email preachinonpreacher@gmail.com, even though you never do. And you can find us on Facebook. Just search for Preachin and Preacher and you'll find us on there. So I guess, gentlemen, that's it for another week and for this season.
Apologies for the delay. My vomiting knew no bounds.
That's clearly not. I guess I'll see you guys next week, though.
Yeah. You will
Keep
do.
on preaching.